very important message. Please hold for a very important message. Please hold for a very important message.
Foodiegang, gang, gang. Foodiegang, gang, gang. Foodiegang, gang, gang. What is going on? What is going on, Foodiegang? We are definitely struggle streaming today. I tried to start my last live and my Wi-Fi went down as soon as I clicked go live. So here we are. We got the second. This is the second one that we had to set up. But we definitely struggle streaming today. Let me know if y'all can hear me okay out there. If y'all can hear me okay. And let me get the banner up. Hit the like button. Subscribe to the show and share this video with your friends. Already know how to keep the stove on and to support the channel. You can send a super chat, stars on Facebook, Cash App, PayPal, so many ways to support. But hitting the like button, leaving a comment down below, whether you're watching us live or on the replay. Follow me on my social media platforms. All right, y'all. We are back with another episode for time for tea at 907 goodies. I have coffee today. We have some good weather today, so the plan is to barbecue, but we will see. We will see. We will see. Today we're going to be talking about something that happened yesterday that was very shocking to me. Trump made a couple of pardons, and we'll get into that today. So, I don't know if you guys have ever heard of the Chrisleys, NBA Youngboy, Larry Hoover, and so many other names, but he chose to issue pardons, and these pardons came as a shock. Like the Chrisleys, do you guys remember they had the reality TV show? And they were accused of bank fraud up to over $30 million. And NBA Youngboy, I like his music, and I really liked NBA Youngboy when he first came out. But he does have a lot of controversies going on. He's always in trouble. So I was surprised to see his name on the list of pardons. Sorry, y'all, let me mute this. And also Larry Hoover, which I did not know much about, and I had to go research this. And I do remember hearing the name from Rick Ross in one of his songs, but I didn't really know who Larry Hoover was, so I looked it up. That's a crazy story. So we can talk about it. Hey, Drip, he said 907 East. I am doing good, fam. Hey, how are you? How are you? We're doing okay. I'm gonna be honest. We up here struggle streaming. You're having a lot of technical difficulties. I'm telling you, my Wi-Fi was working perfectly fine. The minute I hit go live, my Wi-Fi goes out. My screen is black. I'm like, are you kidding me? Like, been sitting here all this time and I ain't had no issues. And the moment I hit go live, I got a problem. I got a problem. So yes, we do have some good weather today. The plan is to, boot back up Kitchen Talk with Chef Big Bang, which is my live show where I cook on YouTube. We go outside, we go on field trips. I call them field trips when we go outside. We go to the grocery store. We do everything on Hidden Talk with Chef Big Bang. So the plan is to restart season 4. We just wrapped up season 3, and season 3 was 215 episodes. Your girl be up here talking. Be up here talking. But I did want to mention the pardons for Time for Tea because they they came as a shock to me. Like I just remember because I used to watch it was called Chrisley Knows Best, which was the TV show. I used to watch that TV show, and when they were going through the whole court battle and they got sentenced to prison, like it was a big deal and a big story. Eric, I don't know what you talking about. He said, "Did you say boo up?" I might have. That's what my coffee here. Okay, I got 8:22 my time, and I am in Alaska. I got my coffee here. Ain't got no tea this time. Coffee. Okay, before we get into the live, I am gonna pull up the disclaimer. The views expressed are those of the individuals, not 907 goodies. While we aim for accuracy, we cannot guarantee completeness or reliability. Use information at your own risk. Okay, y'all. I should get comfortable before I get into these hot topics. And I feel like I'm at my desk today. I think I was in my bedroom the other day, and then I was at my kitchen table. I actually, out of all the spots, the kitchen table is my favorite, just because I have so much room, and it's different when I'm at my desk. Because I was like, I don't got that much room. And let me get my stuff up so I can see myself. Didn't even have breakfast today. I wanted to get here and come and share all this news with y'all. So Trump issued a whole bunch of pardons. We got the Chrisleys from Chrisley Knows Best, which is a TV show. They were accused of bank fraud. We have NBA Youngboy, which is a rapper, and if you know, you know. And NBA Youngboy always into some kind of trouble. He's always in the tabloids. Like there's always he got a whole bunch of kids and baby mamas. Always something going on with NBA Youngboy. Larry Hoover, I had to do some research because you guys know I am 31, so I had to research who Larry Hoover was, and I do remember hearing of his name in a couple of the rap songs. Larry Hoover has 6 life sentences, and he's the leader of the Gangster Disciples, which they are considering to be the largest street gang. So I'm like, what do you gotta do to get 6 life sentences? He's been in jail from since like 1973. He's been in jail for a long time. He is in his 70s, and I was so surprised that Trump pardoned him because you guys know how they be feeling about like gangsters or people, people who be living that street life. They tend to, feel like whatever they get is what they deserve. So I was very surprised to see his name on the list of pardons. We're just gonna hop right into the content. Look, I ain't even getting no time to normally I like pull up some food but we gonna get right into the content. And Eric ain't listening. Eric, you're not listening, okay? We need you to put your listening ears on. He said you didn't know who Larry Hoover was. I heard the name. I knew he had something to do with gangs, but I did not know his specific background. But I remember that Rick Ross had that song. If you know, you know. But I didn't know that all the details. And Eric, you know I'm young. That's why I need y'all to come up this show. I'm gonna drop the link, and if you want to come up, you gotta come up through YouTube. But y'all, drop on your girl. Because y'all were really around. Some of you guys may have been around during that time where she was actually getting locked up. Or, on the streets as well. And I'm gonna say this. And y'all know I was born in '93. Larry Hoover been locked up since '73. Come on now. And okay, I thought he was 73. Okay, Eric said he's 70. What he gonna do with freedom? Now I did see that he look, he gonna live the rest of his life at peace. But Eric's when he's saying that they should have been let him. Look, if I have 6 life sentences and if I'm 70 or 80 and you let me out, I think I would be very grateful because that might not have been a possibility with all this time. Now, one thing I will say, Trump did pardon the federal crimes, but he has, I believe, a life sentence plus 200 years on the state level. So we're waiting to see if they're going to pardon that too. But one thing I'll say, man, they seem like they wasn't playing with him. Like, well, let me get right into the content. Let's get this pulled up. And we are going to be back for Time for Tea tomorrow. I think what we're going to talk about, if nothing pops off, what I want to talk about is more about the Clarissa Shields, Remy Ma Papoose. And there also is some updates on the Tory Lanez case. So if nothing else changes, I think that's what we will talk about um tomorrow. And I'm gonna drop it right now. Eric said, look, I got something outside. He said, I got something outside. Okay, and if you do want to come join the channel, you gotta come through YouTube, my YouTube channel 907 Goodies. But yeah, if y'all know about because I know about like NBA Youngboy and the Chrisleys, because that's something that happened like kind of like recently, but Larry Hoover is before my time. So I had to do research on that. Let me drop this link. See, this is why I don't like this desk. It's too tiny. It's like I need room. And I guess we'll get into the Larry Hoover first, just so that if Eric does come up, we kind of are already on topic. And then I'm gonna pin this link to the top of the chat. But the best thing you can do, you guys, is stay out of trouble. Stay out of trouble, then you don't got to get no pardon. People did feel a way about Trump pardoning Larry Hoover and NBA Youngboy. A lot of people weren't really that happy about it. Okay, so I'm gonna do share my screen with you guys, and I'm actually gonna play this video first. Well, before we get into all that, let me do this real quick so y'all know where we at.
Please hold for a very important message.
Okay, so y'all hold for this very important message. Time for tea, time for tea. And shout out to Eric coming through with 100 stars, kicking this show off, right? So let me play the money video and I'm gonna get that banner updated. Thank you so much, Eric. And if y'all don't know about Eric, Eric is my mentor. I used to work in the kitchen and he was one of the customers, and we have kept in touch throughout the years, and he's always giving me good advice. Which is what people need, mentors, or people to speak good positivity into them. So here we go. Foodiegang, gang, gang. Foodiegang, gang, gang. Okay. So let me get that banner updated. But while I do that, I am gonna share my screen with you guys, and we're gonna talk a little bit more about some of the pardons that were issued from Trump, and we are gonna listen to we're gonna play the first one's gonna be the news, and then we're gonna play Anton Daniels, and we're gonna hear his reaction. I do watch some of Anton Daniels' content. I like his content. I watch his content. I'll be commenting in the comment section. But you know what? I appreciate good content. Whether I can agree with everything the content creator says, if you have good content, you have good content. You know? Like, so. Oh, let me put my headphones on. That's the first step. I gotta keep my headphones on. I ain't gonna be able to hear it. Let me put my headphones on so I can hear it.
The former lead prosecutor in Larry Hoover's federal case, reacting this afternoon with disappointment, telling us there are just some offenders and crimes that are not deserving of clemency, and Hoover falls in that category. But this afternoon, President Trump disagreeing, commuting Hoover's 6 life sentences on federal convictions to time served. Hoover still faces, however, a 200-year state sentence on a 1973 murder conviction, so it appears he won't be getting out of prison, at least in the near term. It was while behind bars serving time for that murder that federal prosecutors say he continued overseeing the Chicago Gangster Disciples, a gang that he co-founded. And in 1997, he was convicted of running a criminal enterprise. But Hoover's attorney says over the years, Hoover has been rehabilitated and written numerous letters talking about his experience, how he turned to crime, and the good he can do in steering young people away from a similar fate.
And so you can already tell some people were not happy with what is going on with his sentence being commuted. I will say, he's been in jail since 1973, I believe. That is a long time. And from his charges, in my opinion, they didn't ever want him to get out. They don't ever want him to see the light of day. And now Trump has made that possible. And Trump is, very controversial. Y'all already know how that is. So they don't want him to see the light of day, but now Trump has made it a little bit more possible. He is still facing the charges on the state level, but having 6 life sentences lifted off of him is a great step in the right direction. If because he has been seeking freedom, and his son also has been advocating on his behalf for him to be free. I watch Hood Educated. That's another great content creator on YouTube. And he was pretty much saying the same thing. Like, he feels like he served his time, but some people do not feel that way. So, we're gonna see. And Eric said Trump does stuff to piss people off. He does. And I feel like he enjoys it too. You know what I'm saying? Because he enjoys it. And all the pardons, well, there are more pardons than just these 3 that we're going to discuss. There was a whole list. These were just some of the high profile names on the list that you may recognize. But Eric is absolutely right. Trump likes triggering people. He likes it. It's fun for him. I don't even think his supporters expected him to do something like this. And NBA Youngboy, I'm surprised. But I feel like when you do get a pardon from the president, you should stay out of trouble. You know what I'm saying? Like, not everybody gets a pardon from the president. the president has pardoned you. There should be no reason. I remember when Trump pardoned Kodak Black, and correct me if I'm wrong, Foodiegang, but I believe Kodak Black came out and got in more trouble. I could be wrong though. But yeah, if you get a pardon from the president, it's a once in a lifetime thing. But he has, excuse me, 6 life sentences lifted off of him, and now he's facing life plus 200 years, which is unnecessary. A life, first of all, we don't even live to 200 years. Why are y'all adding in 200 years? All you had to say was life. You know what I'm saying? It's just, yeah, it's crazy.
He is being held because he is a symbol, not because he needs further incarceration or he hasn't been rehabilitated. He's been a model prisoner for many, many years. He's been examined. He has been determined to be no risk.
If Larry Hoover said there was going to be a killing, there was a killing. If Larry Hoover said there was going to be a beating, there was a beating. If Larry...
My thing that kind of shocked me is because when he had to go to prison in the beginning, he had to be young. But they are saying that he had a lot of pull, and he was a leader.
Hoover said there was going to be a drug deal, there was a drug deal.
Hoover's case has drawn the attention of a number of advocates and public figures, including Chance the Rapper and Kanye West. Hoover is currently serving time in Colorado, but with that state sentence, he'll likely be moved at some point to a prison in Illinois. The former lead prosecutor.
And that was another thing I heard about. There were people that were advocating on his behalf, and I heard that Kanye West was advocating. I feel like if you are in prison and you have people advocating on your behalf on the outside, I do think it is helpful. And I guess never give up hope, but not everybody wants him to be free. Not everybody agrees, but there are some group of people that are happy. So the question is when he gets out, hopefully he can just relax and chill and live the rest of his days and not try to step back into that role. But yeah, he's in his 70s now. Like, how much could this man do at 70? But they don't want him out. We're gonna let's get into another one.
We begin with breaking news. He was once one of the most notorious gangsters in Chicago. Tonight, President Trump is commuting the federal sentence of Gangster Disciples co-founder Larry Hoover.
Suzanne Lemonnier is in our newsroom. Suzanne, this move doesn't mean he'll be getting out of prison.
Erica Joe, legal experts see this as a potential hollow victory. Now, while Hoover may be released from federal prison, he still has a 200-year state sentence for which a parole board has already denied early release. In 1993, Hoover spoke to...
Okay, I thought it was life plus 200 years is just 200 years. But still, either one is not as long. 200 years? That's crazy. 200 years? Like, who was living to be 200?
To former CBS News Chicago reporter John Davis. And at that time, Hoover was 42 years old and had already served 20 years in prison.
I've done my time. I paid my debt to society.
So he was already in prison, and then they came back and they were adding more charges. So I was watching a little bit of his backstory. What happened was he was already in prison for 20 years, and then this is all allegedly, according to what I saw. One of his close friends, this is what I heard too, Eric. Eric said he still has influence. That's what I heard. He was already in prison for like 20 plus years. One of his close friends was wearing a wire, allegedly, and based off of those conversations, the wire evidence, the snitching, they were able to come back and add on more years while he was already in jail. So people kind of feel like that was kind of like shady, like you've been in jail for 20 years and you're adding on more charges. that is a little bit like excessive. So he still got influence. So, but hopefully, even if he has influence, the man is like in his 70s. Hopefully, he's able to come back and kind of chill out. Um, I know I didn't really know about too much about BMF till the show came out, but Big Meech recently got out of prison, which was kind of a shocker. Y'all heard about the whole situation with Big Meech, Little Meech, and 50 Cent. But it seems like to me when Big Meech came out, he kind of still wanted to be in the streets and he still wanted to maintain his image, is what it looks like. He hooked up with Rick Ross. Yes, he hooked up with Rick Ross. Rick Ross and 50 Cent ain't cool, right? They were supposed to do a coming home concert, and he was going to do it with Rick Ross. But like the day before, the same day, the concert got canceled. And a lot of people are alleging that it was 50 Cent that really pulled the shots behind the scenes. And because Big Meech was in pictures with Rick Ross, 50 Cent felt highly disrespected. And he said, yo, Lil Meech, this whole BMF series, we're living in our last days. And so people were kind of mad at Big Meech, like, why would you come home and disrespect 50 Cent like that when you know this man has done so much for you and your family? But I bring that situation up because we saw Big Meech get out of prison suddenly. A lot of people think that he'd be snitching or something like that. But we saw him get out of prison and he seems like he still wanted to kind of be in the streets. So I'm hoping that Larry Hoover is over that and he's over that. But only time will tell, and hopefully he's able to get out. Eric said, suspect is what that is. Are you talking about Big Meech getting out? They talking about he was snitching and all that. But yes, so Larry Hoover was already in prison. He had already done like a whole bunch of years, and they threw more charges on top of him. Okay, so yes, I'll be honest with you guys. I do feel like Little Meech and Big Meech were very disrespectful to 50 Cent. And I don't blame 50 Cent. I don't blame him. And we know who 50 Cent is. He be trolling. He is very serious about respect. And it was just disrespectful. And why would you link up with my op and try to do a concert that's not even in your hometown? And the people in Detroit felt some type of way about that too. You're doing a coming home concert in Miami? What, like, oh, it was weird. Eric said 50 Cent paid for Lil Meech to go to acting classes in order to play his dad in BMF. According to 50 Cent, he fed Lil Meech. He put money in his hands, a whole bunch of money. He got him acting classes. They could have hired anybody for that role. The fact, and like, honestly, most times when there are roles like that, they don't typically get the family. They will get another actor that is experienced. 50 Cent did the most for Lil Meech, but I feel bad for Little Meech because he kind of was caught in the middle. And like he was caught in the middle. He didn't know his dad was gonna come out acting the fool. But I bring up that situation because Big Meech, BMF, that was a big thing too back in the day. And he was at the top in that city. And not even just in that city, but he had things on lock as well. And we recently saw him get out of prison after a long time, and we saw how he was acting. Crazy. He needed to go sit down somewhere. And I will say this, when Big Meech got locked up, social media wasn't around. All of these people with opinions wasn't around. And so that makes things very, very different. We're living in a day and age where the media is 24 hours where people are putting everything on social media and things are moving super, super fast.
That was Larry Hoover more than 3 decades ago. At that time, the leader of the Gangster Disciples and convicted murderer told our John Davis he had a lot of time to think about ways to stop the gang violence on the streets of Chicago.
One teenager don't like the other teenager because the way he wears his hat, because his ideology is different from his. A disciple don't like a vice lord. We all black people. It's no different.
At that time, Hoover, also known as King Larry, admitted being part of a fragile gang truce in the city and organizing a protest over plans to close healthcare clinics in African American neighborhoods. Ron Safer, the lead prosecutor in Hoover's federal trial, reacts to news Hoover's life sentence has been commuted by President Trump.
I was disappointed. I do not think that this is.
So he's the lead prosecutor, meaning that he was going against the defense. So the defense was advocating for Larry Hoover. The prosecution goes against them. So he ain't cool with it. This is the lead prosecutor. We heard from him again, but I'm gonna play this video again. And Eric said Meek's brother Terry didn't make noise when he got out. When did Terry get out? When did Terry get out? Yes, y'all. Big Meech thought he was gonna hop back on the scene. He thought he was gonna come out and it was gonna be like the same time that he went in, or the same year that he went in, but things have changed. Things have changed, and he's just outdated. But you can tell that Big Meech, in my opinion, still wants to be in the streets. He still wants to be in the streets. Because honestly, he could have got out. He could have been doing like interviews. He could have been doing reform. He could have been talking to young children, trying to school them about how to stay away from the streets. But instead, he's trying to, I don't know what he's doing, but he could have just spun this in a positive way, which it sounds like Larry Hoover does want to do that with the reform and speaking to the young children. I think that's a better angle. That's a better angle, you know. But Big Meech could have came out doing that. They could have had him in the BMF series. He should have linked up with 50 for looking out for his son and looking out for his family, putting the millions of dollars on the table. But instead, he came out disrespectful. He came out like, and a lot of people were kind of mad at not 50 Cent. A lot of people were mad at Rick Ross. Because, like, Rick Ross, you know you don't care about that man. You know you just want to get back at 50. Why are you doing this? Terry got out a few years before we said, oh, I didn't even know that. I did not know that. And Terry did exactly what he needed to do. Get out and be quiet. Because Big Meech got out of jail and immediately started doing promo and press and he wanted to have a coming home concert, which I think is kind of crazy about the coming home parties, coming home concerts, because I feel like we're starting to celebrate prison, starting to celebrate jail. Big Meech wanted to come out and be in the limelight, okay? And what he ended up doing was the opposite of that. Hey, Will, how are you doing? How are you doing? He said, hey, hello, 907 good evening, salute mods in chat. We are just talking about some of these pardons that Trump issued yesterday, which came as a shock to a lot of people. I'm talking about the Chrisleys, NBA Youngboy, and Larry Hoover. Right now, we're watching Anton Daniels react to and report on the Larry Hoover, and I can say right now, Anton does not seem like he's happy about this. Let us get back into the video.
An appropriate end to the Larry Hoover story, at least the federal part of it.
Safer says Hoover was perhaps the most notorious criminal the state of Illinois has ever known.
He was convicted of running a continuing criminal enterprise that had approximately 30,000 members across 28 states. selling over $100 million worth of drugs in the state of Illinois alone each year.
I'm not sure if I necessarily care for the commuting of the sentence of Larry Hoover. Again, I'm not really sure how the law works, so I'll be doing a little bit of research so that we can talk about it on the Millionaire Morning Show as far as his sentence being commuted. And then one of the things that prosecutors like to do is not only do they trump up the charges and they make sure that they charge you with multiple different things. That way, if you ever get off on one thing versus all of the rest of the things that you might have been convicted for, you'll still have to serve a time in prison. Now, I'm not really sure what that looks like on a state level. And I also know that he's pardoned NBA Youngboy, but he's commuted the sentence of Larry Hoover. But let's hear the rest of this story, and then we'll continue to have this conversation.
And he ran that entire operation with ruthless efficiency from prison, where he was serving a state sentence for double murder.
Safer also told us about Hoover being recorded, saying teenagers needed to sell drugs for his criminal organization. The recording was made a year after.
What? See, this is what I was talking about. And shout out to, we got somebody up here. What's going on, Eric?
What's
You
happening?
in the dark?
No, I'm sitting in. Well, I guess you can't say I was in the dark. What up?
Okay, there we go. Hey, Eric, y'all, this is my good friend, my mentor. Shout out to Eric.
Hey.
Eric, what's up with you? How you doing?
Usual. Jump up, do laundry, and then I got the alert that you was online. So, let me see. Let me see what the tea was today.
And look, what tea do you have to tell us? What is your perspective?
My perspective of what the Larry Hoover release.
Yeah, I want you to talk to the Larry Hoover because you know more about that than us. Go
No, I
ahead
was a
and
little
drop some
boy
knowledge on us.
when all that was going on. I was a little boy, so that was actually before my time too. But he's got a nice following, and he's a legend. He's
Do you
he's
think
sort of like back in the day with like Malcolm X and all them other guys and stuff. Pretty much when it came down to not taking no stuff.
why is he a legend?
Because of all of the stuff he was doing in Chicago at the time.
Okay.
Hey, he was one of them, like you said, like that one clip said, if he said it was going to happen, it happened.
Well, do you know how old he was when he went to prison? Because he had to be young, right? If he's been in there since that long, how old was he?
I don't know. All I know is if you went in 73?
Yeah.
He went in 73. I was just a year old.
He had to be like in his 20s or something.
Yeah. But then when he's 70 now, 70s, hey,
Mm-hmm.
hey, like you said, let him go and get on out. Although I do feel like if he gets out, if he gets tied into the wrong crowd, which it'd be easy to do because of his background, they might end up putting him back in.
What? But you don't think that he got to be tired though? So hopefully he don't even get in with the same crowd.
Mm. Well, like I said, you got to have some kind of influence for them for people not to mess with you while you're in prison, right?
So you still think he's kind of running things?
Why wouldn't he? I mean, that's my opinion. I feel like hey, that's just the opinion I have.
Yeah, I was watching this video yesterday, and this older gentleman was pretty much saying the same thing, that he has a lot of influence even in prison, and he was still running stuff allegedly, even in
Yeah,
prison.
allegedly. Yeah, you're right.
Yeah. Mm.
But I mean,
Oh, and then
he
oh, go
did a.
ahead, go ahead.
I'm gonna say he's been doing, a bunch of little intros for like the Ghetto Boys. I don't know if you ever listened to any of their stuff.
Aren't the Ghetto Boys uh that white group, right? Or who are they? I'm thinking of the Proud Boys. Who are the Ghetto Boys?
The Ghetto Boys, they're a group from
Yeah.
Houston.
Is that like a
Yeah,
rap? You
yeah,
got to be
they're
the
old school. Well, I guess, cause talking to you, I'm old school. But yeah, no, the Ghetto Boys been around a while, and Larry Hoover did a lot of like little intros and cameos and stuff on their stuff. Mainly Scarface, but he did a lot of that. But he's very educated, and he speaks well, and you could tell it.
Mm. So it was like a rap group, and when he was doing those cameos, was he already in prison, or this is when he was free?
No, he was in prison because you got to figure, he been in prison almost my life, so for him to do a cameo on the Ghetto Boys thing, he had to have been in prison already.
Oh, okay, I see what you're saying. Well, I did not know that, Eric, about I was thinking of the Proud Boys. I was thinking of something else. But the Ghetto Boys, I hadn't even heard of that group before.
That's okay. That's okay. Stick with the old man, old people. Old people know things.
And that's why I be keeping old people in my circle, or older people that have wisdom. Because if you're only talking to people that look like you ain't gonna know nothing.
But you gotta have a variety of people that you mess with, because not everybody gonna have the same view on issues. But the thing of it is,
Very,
is
very
to
true.
be, the thing of it is to be smart enough to be able to accept the other person's view, even though you think they're wrong.
And people be like getting mad at other people's opinion and but okay, let me ask you this, Eric. Why do you think Trump pardoned Larry Hoover?
I really don't know what his ulterior. He got motive. He's got a real motive. But then, like I said, he does things to piss people off. And I don't know who he's targeting or trying to target, pissing off or whatever and stuff, but he's pissing people off.
So you think he did it to make somebody mad?
Yeah.
Um,
Because I
do
mean,
you feel like Trump do be doing stuff to make people mad?
all right, think about it. Now, let's be honest. Trump's a older white gentleman. I mean, of course he was running around. He was of age at that time. You got to figure what 50 something years ago. So, and Trump's in his 70s, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. So Trump's in his 20s at the time. You got to look at a lot of the stuff that he actually doing since he became president this second time. I think he's a puppet for somebody. That's just me.
Do you want to name that somebody?
No.
I think I know what you're gonna say. And I watch politics, but I don't really talk about it as much because people they don't like it. But I love politics. I heard Elon Musk is about to leave Doge and leave the government,
I thought he did
and he's
already.
going back. Yeah, he's going back to his regular life. Do you
Yeah.
think that that's who he's a puppet for, or do you think it's somebody else?
So if he's going back to his regular life, then what's that tell you?
That tells me that something happened.
Because if you got to look at
What
Elon
does it
Musk,
tell you though?
Elon Musk got a lot of money, a lot of money. The only reason he went into that position was for prestige and a little more fame or whatever to push whatever narrative that is he has in his claw. Now, for him to leave, he had to have seen something that wasn't good for his platform. Now, what that is, we don't know.
Let me get the disclaimer back up. Everybody just drop some jewels on us.
Know what I'm saying? Now, what it is, we don't know. Because I mean, you got to think about it. Everybody try to be nice or have a good image in the public eye. Now, if that man stepped down and moving away from the public eye, which is that's what working with Trump would be, is working in the public eye. It's everything that man does, regardless good, bad, ugly, or indifferent, it's in the public eye. So for him to leave had to be something that would have shed some negative light towards Mr. Musk.
I do feel like something is going to happen with this. I don't know, everything's just really, really weird. Like, you see all these pardons, and some of the people that Trump pardoned, his side, which is conservatives, don't agree with like street life, gang life. You know what I'm saying? Like, they don't really like us like that, in my opinion. And so to see these pardons and you hear some of the names like NBA Youngboy, Larry Hoover, it's like, what?
And you sitting there like, how does he know who these people are?
Yeah, what's going on?
What's the angle? I'm sure I ain't saying nothing that ain't nobody. I'm not saying nothing that nobody hadn't thought. What's his angle? What's he doing? What's he getting at? Why is he doing that?
You know what, Black people, we would just be so sketched out about stuff. When somebody do something good, we'd be looking like,
yeah, exactly. What's the catch?
Right.
There's a catch to everything.
Yeah, you're right. What's the catch? But have you heard that they're gonna stop public assistance, or they're gonna add some reform to it, like to food stamps, the housing, and all of that stuff? Do you think that has something to do with this?
Possible.
We'll
never know, because like I said, when people cook up an idea of what they want to do with something, of course, you can't let the cat out of the bag initially. It might be 6 months down the road before we realize why he did what he did.
It is fishy, and it makes like the hair on my arm kind of stand up. Like, what's going on here? Because it's like we've been fighting so long for our people, and now it's just like you see all these things happening. You're like, well, what's up with this?
Mm-hmm.
Hey, Angela, how are you doing? How are you doing? She said he is giving pardons and commuted sentences to any celebrity or regular person who can afford to buy it. I have heard that as well. Do you agree with that? That these people bought these pardons? I don't know if you heard of the Chrisleys before, NBA Youngboy and Larry Hoover, but some people are saying that these are celebrities. They pay for the pardons.
Isn't Chrisley that happy-go-lucky white gentleman that had that show? He's southern.
Yeah. And then his family was accused of bank fraud up to like $30 million. It was him and his wife, and they had a whole bunch of kids, and they had one black granddaughter that they were raising as their own.
Really?
So it's that couple, and then their daughter Savannah was advocating on their behalf while they have been in prison, which is 2 years. But do you feel like these people pay for these pardons, allegedly?
Something's going on though, because you got to figure Trump is in his 70s. He's disconnected from just about everything. You got because at a certain point in your life, you just stop paying attention to a lot of stuff. And he can't be paying attention to okay, well, let me let this guy out, or let me let this guy out. What's the motive and what's the reason behind it? Why? I mean, it does seem like it's motivated by something else.
Yeah, and a lot of people are speculating that, and people are kind of angry with these names because the Chrisleys, it was alleged that they had committed fraud up to over $30 million. That's a lot of money.
Yeah,
They had
yeah,
served 2 years,
that's a
and the
lot of money,
husband, yeah, that's a lot of money,
a
especially
whole
when
lot
they're
of
doing
money.
this whole Doge thing. You said it's not a lot of money?
I said a whole lot of money.
Oh, I thought you said no. I'm like, you got $30 million. Let me find out. But that's a lot of money. So why all of a sudden did it change? And back to what Eric said, Larry Hoover's been locked up for a long time. So
Yep.
during Trump's first presidency, Larry Hoover was in prison. Why didn't he pardon him then?
Yeah. Why are you pardoning
If
him
he
now?
really cared.
Yeah, if he really cared, why didn't he pardon him during his first term?
Exactly. So it's like, what is going on here? I'm sorry, I'm about to call you Trump. Eric, what do you think about this? Food stamps was to benefit white people.
You know what? What they don't broadcast is a lot of the help that the programs that are actually pushed out are white people do benefit from it. I think a lot of people benefit from it. It's just they make more of a big deal about it being black people when black people jump on the bandwagon or get the same benefits that everybody else does.
And I'm glad you up here, Eric, to tell everybody, the real with some sense. And Eric's absolutely right. I heard that there is more white people on food stamps, but y'all like to talk about the black women being on food stamps like
Food
there's
stamps,
not.
welfare, all of that stuff. They like I said, they just make a big deal out of when African Americans take advantage of it. But you got just as many, white Americans that take advantage of it too. They just don't make a big deal out of it.
Yeah, y'all heard them. Y'all heard Eric. Thank you, Eric, for
Just
coming
got to
up.
look at the numbers.
Yeah, and I feel like we're not telling the full story. This is exactly right. And thank you so much, Uncensored C. Mason, for coming through with the truth. And you know what? You hear a lot of younger people making the big deal about the
Mhm.
black people. But older people have enough sense to know that it's not just black people. We're not even like the majority in the country.
Oh,
So
not majority of anything except for we lead the numbers as far as the numbers of percentage of being in prison. That's us.
mm,
I was just looking at a
yeah.
thing the other day that said, I don't know if you could bring this up on your tea tomorrow or whatever and stuff about that guy, the young kid that killed this other kid. His name's Carmelo Anthony.
Oh yes, yeah, I know what you're talking about.
Yeah, yeah. I started looking at it, and I went down the rabbit hole of information because once you scratch the surface on something, you start reading about everything else and stuff. But I started looking at how many young black men are incarcerated for well were put up on charges and they got tried as grown adults as teenagers, and the numbers are crazy.
That's true. And then there was some news that he's going to be tried as an adult, and he is in the state of Texas. And
Yep.
I heard the same sex is 17 is considered to be an adult. And I actually haven't covered that case here. But I watch a lot of content creators, and there's been a lot of talks about it. That has been a subject that is very emotional for a lot of people,
True.
and it was heartstrings.
Yeah. Yep. And you know, I think um from what I read about it, it was just two kids that got into it, and the other one, like, one pushed or started, you know, a physical altercation with the other one, and the guy who lived and stabbed the other kid in the chest.
Yeah, but what happened is that they kind of turned it into like a race war where it was black against white versus two kids having a dispute. And then that's when it really got like
And that's what
kind of
it all was.
you know what I'm
You know,
saying?
you in the heat of competition, which that happens with all sports. You know, from what I read, it was a sporting event that they went to,
Mm-hmm.
and that they participated in, and you know, Mr. Anthony was or whatever the young fella's name is, was, I guess, it seemed like, for all intents and purposes, looked like he was taking a break or taking a rest or whatever, but he was under the wrong tent, and the other kid made notice of it, and that's how everything popped off.
And it's crazy because like your life can literally change in a moment.
Yep.
You know what I'm saying? Like that's why you got to be careful. You know who you have a dispute with or who you be talking to, because you just never know what that person is going through. So they're gonna charge him as an adult. The family had a couple of press conferences. It's just been a long story, and the trial hasn't even begun.
Nope.
So it's it's a lot.
But yeah, you're right. It did get it got escalated and stuff, because I was reading that him and his family were moved because he got death threats.
Yeah, and it seems like you know how the internet is. When they don't like you, they're gonna come after you. And there's some people who are for the Carmelos and some people who are against them, and some people who are for the Austin Metcalf family.
Mm-hmm.
And that's just a very like heated debate. And it kind of took a turn and became a black versus white thing. And that's really not even what happened. That had nothing. I don't think that had anything to do with it. It was more so two kids having disagreement.
Right.
But it took a turn, and once it takes that type of turn where it becomes white versus black, your side against my side, I don't. It's gonna be hard to turn it back, you know.
Yep. Like a snowball. Once it got a little momentum, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah, it's gonna roll downhill.
Mm-hmm.
And Angela said, yep, they pay the presidential ads or foundation donation. You can directly trace it back to him. A lot of people do feel like these pardons were paid for. We got the Chrisleys, NBA Youngboy, Larry Hoover, and a host of other people. And they feel like, but a lot of presidents pardon people, but they don't like Trump, so anything he does is gonna be highlighted. In my opinion. And shout out to G Honda in the building. I'm gonna get back into this video. Eric, you got some time
Yep.
to hang out with me?
Yeah.
Okay, I'm gonna pull this back up. We're on the Larry Hoover situation. This is Larry Hoover 3 decades ago. He does not look like this now. He is, like Eric said, in his 70s. He's, here we go.
The gangster disciple leader was interviewed on CBS Chicago.
There was another tape where Larry Hoover said, "You have to share your drugs with these children. And I'm talking about 12 years old, 13 years old, 14 years old, so that they can sell it and they can have something. And he said, make them know that with you, they are somebody, and without you, they are nobody.
Meantime, shortly after the commutation announcement, Hoover's son posted this picture on Instagram. That's a White House official holding a copy of the commutation. Hoover's attorneys say they're thrilled he's going to be released from federal custody, but again, he still has a 200-year sentence to serve for his crimes in Illinois.
So perhaps this.
Hey, Riaz, how are you doing? How are you doing? How are you doing? We're talking about Trump and some of
I'm
the
doing good.
pardons that he issued, but you can go ahead and introduce yourself, Riaz.
Hey, what up, though? So basically, I'm Young Riz, aka the Drip King. So basically, I'm a creator and a supporter. I've been doing this creating thing for 2 years, and I mostly do UK hip hop content, voiceover stuff though first, and then I've done other stuff. But that's that though.
Yeah. So y'all make sure y'all check out Young Riz's YouTube channel. Okay, so Larry Hoover was pardoned. He's still facing 200 years on the state level. What are your thoughts about that, Riaz?
So what was
200
that?
years though.
Wow.
Huh? What did you say, Eric?
Yeah. I'm just saying that 200 years, you gave a 70-year-old man, commuted him down to 200 years. He out, but he ain't, I mean, well, I can't say he out. He is still in prison, and
He's closer though. He's closer to being out with just 200 years left versus 200 years and 6 life sentences. The 200 years are on the state level, so the governor is going to have to pardon that time,
federal time
or
is a
they're
whole
going to have.
lot easier. Federal time's a whole lot easier than state time, though.
I've heard that too. But so the governor of that state is going to have to pardon the 200 years, or they're going to have to appeal it. I heard that the governor may already be working on it, but I'm not 100% sure. Riaz, what you think?
Wow, that's interesting, though.
Yeah. Eric, what else do you think? Because I know you got something to say.
I always have something to say.
I know. This is look. Me and
Well,
Eric go way, way back.
I'm online now. I have to filter myself somewhat.
Yeah, because Eric be getting into it.
all the time. But yeah, with 200 years, and I agree with Miss Riddick. Yeah, the governor will pardon him, because you got to figure if we knocked it down and got rid of the federal part of it, and the only thing left is the state part. Whatever states he's in, they probably already leaned on the governor to actually drop that stuff, to drop his tire. So you might see him walking here within the next couple of months.
And you know what I heard, Eric? Like you said earlier, he has a lot of influence already after doing prison for that long. Now he's gonna go to a state prison. I heard they didn't want him in the state prison. If he's got the federal prison on lock after all these years, if he going to the state prison, it could be a lot of trouble for that particular area, or it could be a big shakeup. So I heard that they don't even want him in the state prison, or in the state prison, because he has too much influence. What do you think about that? That
I
theory?
think with him being a high profile inmate, and he's going to be separated from everybody else off the rip anyway. And if they think that he's going to be a problem or will incite certain things and stuff, so of course they're going to keep him away from the general population.
Yeah, but I feel like this. He's 7 years old. How much can he do, right?
Hey, Trump's 70 some years old. Look at what he doing.
Trump is so. One thing I can say about Trump, Trump is funny though. Trump be having me rolling, and I'm with you, Eric. Something's going on.
Yep.
We're finna see something crazy happening. Something is going on. Something's up.
Most definitely.
Right.
You,
What do you say?
what's up, Drip?
I'm just basically doing something. That's why I stepped away earlier, though. Don't mean I'm not going anywhere.
Drip, you're in the UK. Do you guys do parties in the UK?
I think so. I can go Google that for you, though, in a minute. I think so, yeah, there is probably chances, yeah. I have to probably Google that, because I'm not sure, actually. Maybe, though. I'm going to say maybe, though. Maybe for now, but let me go research that. I'll tell you, though, while we're here. But not right now, though. I'm kind of
Okay.
doing
Okay, no worries. But yeah, we have this thing called in the US where the president can pardon federal crimes or can commute sentences. And that's what he did for Larry Hoover, who was serving 6 life sentences. And on the state level, he is still facing the 200 years. But Angela and Eric think that the governor will pardon him. And you know what, Eric, do you feel like it's time served? He's been in jail for decades.
Yeah. I do feel like the time's been served. I really, I don't know, when it comes down to prison and stuff, if you take 20 years from somebody, especially, yeah, the younger you are, you could do 20 years and get out and still be able to, be viable if you're in your 20s. But you go in your 40s and stuff, 20 years, or even later, 20 years, that's a life sentence. You going to end your days pretty much behind prison.
Yeah. And that's what people kind of have a problem with. It's like once you serve the time and you come back out, it's hard to get back into life. But I mean, he didn't serve 50 plus years in prison. Like, when did we say enough is enough? When did we say, you know what I'm saying, like you've done enough? Or according to some of them, though, they feel like he should, end his life behind bars. Like he should go there and meet his demise behind bars. But I feel like it's time served, in my
Yeah,
opinion.
yeah, yeah. I think he should walk for real. At 70 some years old, you done your time. You done your time.
Yeah. Yeah, but one thing that is fishy, why did Trump do it now? Trump has been president before.
Yeah.
Why
Well,
didn't
that's what
he
I'm
do it
saying. How come he
before?
didn't release him on during his first term?
Exactly.
If that meant so much to him, why didn't he release him then?
Exactly. We're not saying that we're not happy with you, Trump, but we're just saying it's looking kind of weird.
It is.
As far as it's
And
looking real sketchy, real weird.
where there's smoke, there's fire. If your spidey sense is tingling, it's probably because something is not right.
Yeah, that makes
Just
sense.
saying.
Yeah.
Yeah, something's not right. Do you guys know who NBA Youngboy is?
I do.
Eric?
I'm familiar with that.
Now you
I
going
do,
in
though.
and I heard the name. I'm like you that's
I
your
know.
general time for music. NBA Youngboy.
Yeah,
I
but
don't even
yeah,
know if I
I'm
heard any
early
of his music.
2000s. Oh, so I was just gonna tell you, I'm early 2000s. So I was born in the early 2000s, but I'm more old school though in a way. So I'm kind of I'm like middle. I'm like basically straight down the middle. Basically, I'm middle generation in a way. So I'm like
Yeah.
a bridging type of thing. So by the time I was born, it was still carrying on something we already knew back in the 90s. So it's just that mine is more of a transition period though.
Well, this is a great panel because we have Eric up here to tell us about Larry Hoover because that was before our time, Drip, and then we can educate Eric on NBA Youngboy and the Chrisleys. So
Okay,
this is
so
perfect.
basically, NBA young boy never broke again. No, basically with him, no, he's a rapper though, and I don't know too much about him, but I'm familiar with him and stuff like that.
Well, one of his songs I do love is called Outside, and he talks about how he don't want to go outside today. But
Oh, you gonna sing
NBA
it?
Youngboy has
Okay, hold on a second.
No, I'm not, because I might have to run the lyrics wrong. Um, but you can look that song up, Eric, in your free time. NBA Youngboy has a whole bunch of baby mamas, whole bunch of kids. One of his baby mamas is actually Floyd Mayweather's daughter,
Wow.
and there's a whole controversy with that. He got a whole bunch of kids. He is in and out of trouble. In and out of trouble. He had a troubled childhood growing up. He is what you guys would consider to be mumble rap. He
Yeah.
would be one of the
I
mumble
wouldn't
rappers.
say
But
I
I feel
wouldn't say
like
mumble rap because
NBA
he's more
Youngboy
of a
be mumble rapping, but
not
they would
mumble
consider
rap.
him
He's
to
more
be a mumble
trap rap
rapper.
than. No, I don't think he's mumble rap. He's more trap rap than mumble rap. Actually, he's not actually mumble rap. Though. He's more like trap. He's more of a trap artist, though.
Hey sis, no Drip, I get what you're saying, but I'm saying for Eric's generation, they look at a lot of these rappers as mumble rappers.
I
And so
kind of
I
do
don't
too in
think
some way, though. Kind of. That's kind of the same. Yeah, but wouldn't that technically apply for me as well? I kind of consider that a little bit, though. But I wouldn't say he's mumble rap like that, though. I mean, like he's in that. He's like basically in his own. He's more of a trap rapper who basically came up during that era.
And then Angela
Well,
said, I like some of the NBA Youngboy songs like Right Foot Creep and Beat Mirrors. I heard Right Foot Creep before Outside. He has some good songs though, Eric.
I'm gonna
And
have
he
to
makes
pull up
some
some of
good
that stuff. But
songs.
like I said,
Okay, that's cool. Wait, I was gonna ask him though. Would you consider UK rap as mumble rap to you? That when you, I don't know, you don't, I've not heard any UK rap. But if you hear UK rap though, do you think to you it sounds like it's mumble though, or it's alright though? Because UK has a lot of lyricists though.
I
so
don't feel like a lot of these rappers are mumble rappers, but Eric is an older gentleman. So I feel like
Okay.
older people are looking at all these younger rappers like mumble
so
rappers. But
so
we being younger, we're able to break it apart. But Eric, you go ahead, Eric. Let us know
the
what you
way
think.
I'm gonna
the
ask
way the
him.
generational stuff works is when I was coming up, my parents was like, yeah, you listen to that boot the boot boot music, and they couldn't understand it, right? And we get to that point where when I was coming up, rap, if you rapping, you had a message, and people understood what you were saying, and it had a nice beat to it. Now it's the beats aren't, or the rapping isn't on cue with the music, and you can't understand what they're saying, and then I can't relate to a lot of the new slang that they have. So
Okay.
that's what the actual people coin it as mumble rap. It's like, look, he mumbling, I don't know what the hell he's saying, and then you go back to playing whatever it was he was listening to, or
Okay. That's
you can
fine.
never
No,
go
I
wrong
got
with some
this
old
one.
school R&B though. You know what I'm saying? All I'm
Okay,
saying.
I get you on that though, but look, UK rap actually started in the 1980s, though. UK rap actually started in the 80s, but it was established in the mid 90s, though. Only recently the UK rap stuff has become bigger, though, and it's getting more attention now recently, though. Like recently it's getting more bigger attention overseas and stuff like that, though. So, and UK rappers are lyricists as well. You got like grime MCs though who literally spit at a 140 beat per minute though. Grime artists though are really quick spitters though. They rap so fast though, and the beats though as well is dark and grimy though. Because grime is a combination of hip hop, R&B, dancehall, and it's mixed with the UK rave culture though, like jungle and garage and drum and bass and all that. You mix it together and you create grime from that though. So it evolved. So grime is like a form of rap, but it's not actually part of hip hop though. It's like a form of it though, and it came up in similar route, but they themselves, at the end of the day, it's one culture. But grime MCs themselves feel like they're their own culture, their own genre though, you know?
But what
So
Eric
you
is saying
he's
is
redefined what
that
grime is.
Yeah. What? Redefining.
Yeah, that's what you just redefined what grime is. Because I mean, my understanding of what grime is isn't what you just described.
Okay, what do you describe grime to be?
Say again.
What do you define grime as to you?
Well, in my day, and that's the only thing I can really tell you about is my day and stuff. Is grimy was it's like gritty type of storytelling when it comes down to grimy rap. When
Oh,
somebody's talking
grimy.
about life in the trap, you know,
Oh,
or
that.
selling drugs or getting robbing people and stuff. That's more grimy. And what
Oh,
you were saying,
oh,
grimy encompasses a whole bunch of other different.
yeah. It
Yeah.
encompasses a whole lot. So basically, the whole point of UK grime culture is those to give the voice to inner city kids in London first. Though it first started though as the it's like a voice for the inner city kids in London though. So like the kids in London back in the late 90s, early 2000s, they did not feel like they fit in with hip hop or they did not fit in with the UK garage scene as well. So what they did is they decided to take both and basically make their own sound. It's like a voice to the younger people that are there. So that's what grime is though. Like early grime artists though did reference all the stuff you said, but then later though when the scene evolved, they started to leave that life behind though and mature up a bit. And they started to encompass a lot of things. You can make grime out of pretty much anything though, but most people prefer grime to be in its raw, pure form
Eric,
though.
why are you
And you're
looking
not
like
supposed to.
that?
No, he said you can take grime and turn it into anything you want it to be, and I agree with that to a point, But he said that he basically saying that grime has evolved.
Yeah, grime has evolved though, but the only thing you can't do with it is you can't make grime too commercial though. You cannot commercialize grime. You can make money off grime, but you can't commercialize it though. It's one thing that you can never commercialize because it's a niche type of thing though. Because the reason why they call themselves grime is because the media dubbed them as grime. They wanted people could not agree on a name back then though. And the founder himself called it Eski Beat, is the founder of grime, or like one of the godfathers of grime. Wiley, he called himself Eski Boy, and he called his sound Eski Beat. But then the entire scene embraced the name grime because the media dubbed them as grime because the beat sounds very grimy though.
Okay.
So they took
what's typically a grimy beat? I mean, because I've heard some UK stuff and you guys, your beats per minute are a whole lot faster than for the most part than a lot of the stuff that I would call grime.
Yeah, it's 140. 140.
See, that's way too fast.
And see,
In
this
my
is
opinion.
why Eric would consider them to be mumble rappers, even though they are not classified as such. But Eric is like in his 50s. So I'm saying like the older generation is looking at everybody like they're mumble rappers.
Yeah,
You know what I'm
I
saying,
know.
Eric? Do y'all get what I'm saying?
I get it. I get it. Don't worry. You know what you could do with grime as well? There's not, no, with grime as well, you can slow it down as well. There is slow grime as well, though, as well. What you could do is you can slow the beat down with grime. Not everyone wants to do the
So you
quick
got chopped and
spitting.
screwed over there?
Well, kind of, yeah. There is pretty much everything,
so you can
man.
chop and screw you some grime?
Everything though. So basically with grime as well though, is you just basically slow the beat down a little bit though. But when you slow it down,
Yeah.
it's still grime as well. It still sounds grimy, but the beat is more laid back and it's more calm though. Then you also got this other scene as well. You call it road rap though. So instead of saying street rap, we
Road
say
rap?
road. Yeah, because in the UK we don't have roads. We don't have streets. We have roads. So you call it
Okay.
road and rap though. So basically, road rap was created as a counter movement to the commercializing part of grime. People created road rap as a counter movement though. So basically, with
Okay.
road rap, it's more explicit and it references UK gang culture and other stuff though, like the
So
explicit thing.
it's almost like your road rap is what we would consider grime. Well, my generation would consider grime. You know,
Yeah, so
where
it's
it's a
more
lot
like
more
gangster
explicit.
rap though.
Yeah.
Basically, the UK gangster rap.
Okay.
So
And we got
basically,
into the subject because we're talking about NBA Youngboy,
Yeah.
which he's a younger artist. A lot of them would consider mumble rap, but I do like his songs, and I listen to NBA Youngboy myself. And I was always rooting for NBA, but he does have a lot of controversies going on with the baby mamas, the kids, the drugs, and he's always in trouble, it seems.
Mm-hmm.
yeah,
Do you guys
yeah.
feel like Trump pardoning NBA Youngboy was a good decision? I'll start with you first, Eric, and then we'll go down to you, Drip.
Like I said,
Okay.
I don't really have any vested interest in it, to be honest with you. Because I mean, up until you said that he got pardoned, I was like, well, okay. But yeah. So I mean, I had to read more on him or and find out a little more before I give you my opinion on it. So I really don't have an opinion. Whatever it is, it's somebody. It's fueled by something else. So because if I'm in my 50s and I don't know who the hell NBA Youngboy is. I don't know. Can I say that? I don't know
Yeah,
who he
you
is.
good, you good, Derek.
I don't know who he is and stuff. And I'm pretty
Okay.
sure Trump 20 plus years older than me, and I know he don't know who he is. But he pardoned him. So yeah,
Okay. I mean,
it's a
look,
strategic move towards something that we don't see we don't see yet. But that's all I got to say about it.
What do you
okay.
think, Drip?
I feel probably that it is what it is, to be honest. If it ends up being bad, it's bad. I don't really have too much opinion on NBA Youngboy like that. Though I've heard like, about one of his songs, like a few of his songs, and nah, man's not my taste though. Actually, I prefer more lyrical stuff. Though I don't mind the auto tune stuff. Though it's just if you know how to do it properly. I don't mind auto-tune. I don't mind rappers using auto-tune as long as you know how to do it properly. If you're yes, you know your talent. If you have talent, though, of course, but if you know how to use it properly, it's not just like properly as in when you use it. Though I'm talking about engineering wise as well, though. So when you actually engineer the songs and produce it, though, know when to actually use it properly. Because I've heard some of his music, I'm like, nah, man.
Yeah, I definitely understand what you're saying. Okay, so hey Cruz, how are you doing? So what was young NBA charged with? I just looked it up. He's always in some trouble, but this time in 2024, he was arrested on prescription drug fraud. And we're gonna talk more about that when I got some videos here. So prescription drug fraud, which honestly a lot, in my opinion, allegedly of these doctors are definitely guilty of that, in my opinion.
Mm-hmm.
Uh,
He just got caught. That's what it is.
okay, but
A lot of people that do stuff like that, and they already got money and stuff or whatever. They just doing it for the thrill. And my opinion on just about anything that you get caught with is probably something you didn't pay the right somebody to get away with it, or you got whoever you was paying wanted more and you didn't give it to him, and that's how people get caught. Whether it
Somebody
be,
getting told.
yeah,
Yeah, that
he
makes
just
sense.
didn't butter the right bread basket.
Okay. I just probably feel like it's not that, it's not just spiritual, it's probably like a mentality thing with him though. Like he's got so much money, he don't need to be doing this type of thing, but I ain't excusing it though. It's just with him though, he hints at what he's seen and what he's been exposed to his whole life. So I ain't excusing that though. Man's responsible for what he's done though. But you know, it's a mentality thing as well, how he's thinking and everything like that. Like, you know, at some point, like, look, his fans will support no matter what, though. His fans will support no matter what. But how many times, though, is he gonna go to jail to the point when the fans will be like, okay, how long are we gonna keep going like this until we just give up?
I would say one thing: his fan base is strong. Okay,
Oh,
they
okay.
did that time with NBA Youngboy, and even now while he's been in jail, his songs still streaming live. His fans absolutely love them, and I think they
Okay.
have a soft spot in their heart for him because his upbringing was rough, and they could tell like his music. A lot of people would refer to it as putting pain in the music. And so his fan base is strong. They gonna go to jail with him 10 more times and still come. When he come out, he was one thing that he has been able to do is remain successful even while he's been in and out of jail. Even while he's had all these kids, all the baby mamas, his fans rock with him.
All right, that's interesting. No, good point. But
But
I
I
ain't
don't
gonna
get
deny
why
it.
he was doing this with the drugs. And you guys, when y'all get good jobs and you got a way to get out of the hood, stay out of the hood. Stop doing stuff. You know what I'm saying? Just stay out of trouble. Why is it so hard?
They doing it for the thrill. That's it.
Yeah.
Because I mean, you got to figure it ain't for the money. Because what you got money already, so it's all about the
Yeah.
thrill. They adrenaline junkies, you know.
It's that
And Eric,
only.
I think
That's just
you're
the
right.
mental. It's also how they think as well. It's a mental thing as well, not just a thrill bit. I can agree to that though when you're saying that though. But I'm saying some people just, you know, mentally feel like that's how they are. Even though they've made it, but mentally they still feel like they still have to be doing this. I can give you one example. One time though, 9/7, I gave you an example of this guy from the UK. His name's Frader though, and with him, basically that got this in and out mentality type of thing though. Like he's a successful artist though. He's got so much money. He's doing business though and everything like that though. And you know what happened to his entire crew though? Basically, they got investigated though because you know they did something, and you know one of it. He basically Freda's hiding in Dubai. His friend basically, you know, is getting charged though. Like if he comes back though, he's gonna get arrested though. Like it's not just him. Somebody snitched on him, So somebody snitched on his whole crew though, and he and the crew though, basically, they'll get arrested. So for him, he's in Dubai though, hiding out. I explained that to you one time.
Yeah. But keep hiding. And it'll say he NBA in reference to NBA Youngboy. He is like the top selling and top streaming artist. He has a good financial person. He owns property, land, and has investments. Yes, he actually is doing good for himself. But two things can be true. You can be great at your job and great at business and then a bad person. You know what I'm saying? And one
Yep.
thing he has been able to do is he has been able to maintain the music. Once the music stops, that's when you see a shift. But he's been putting out music throughout, and it's shout out to Angela, one of my top moderators. I'm glad you're here to speak
Angela
about
own it. She own it.
Yeah. Shout out to the Foodiegang. Y'all be on it. Eric knew about Larry Hoover, came up here and is educating us on that. The Foodiegang be on it. Y'all be the real investigators.
Okay, that's interesting. That's I still wanted to finish up, but I forgot to tell him as well as about the thing. Sorry, I was just gonna say about like the road rap thing. I was trying to explain that Eric as well. Basically, road rap is a mixture of American gangster rap mixed with UK grime
I ain't
together,
understand. Then
and
you said,
basically. No, sir. I was just trying to say though, is basically with road rap what it is though, the American gangster rap mixed with UK grime, but the beat is slowed down. No, they slowed it down, made it more laid back, and they, rap on those, those gangster rap beats though, and it's basically that they mixed it. That sounds more grimy. Sometimes people confuse the two together because they cross over together and they kind of sound grimy. So people think it's grime, but it's not grime because the people in that scene when they used to do it back then always said, we're not grime, we fall under hip hop, not grime, no. So, it's one culture at the end of the day, but at the same time, no, there's also some differences though,
All right.
That
Yeah, and
still
thank
is
you for
Larry
sharing
Hoover,
that,
isn't
Drip. I'm
it?
gonna play more of
Okay,
this
go
video.
ahead.
We're gonna hear Anton Daniels' reaction. Anton Daniels is a content creator on YouTube. And then after this video, I'll get your guys' thoughts and opinions. But here we go back into the video.
Crimes in Illinois.
So perhaps this is just a symbolic gesture from Trump. I was listening to some people on social media, and some Black people were saying that Trump was trying to get buy-in from the hood. I'm not really sure why he would need buy-in from the hood, considering that he's pardoned multiple other people that the Black community champions, including Kodak Black and Lil Wayne. And then again, I'm still trying to figure out exactly what that looks like as far as whether or not he will be able to actually get out of prison, considering that, again, he had to face other charges, I guess, on a state level. And so we're going to deep dive into that. But maybe it is a symbolic gesture. And obviously, Trump is not needing the buy-in of anybody, again, since he's so early in his administration and it's actually his final term because it is the second term that he is serving. So we'll do a little bit of insight or research on that. But in addition to that, they also are pardoning NBA Youngboy. All right, so NBA Youngboy, for those of you that's been living under a rock, incredibly popular rapper. It says on Wednesday, President Trump pardoned rapper Kentrell Deshaun Golden, also known as NBA Youngboy, and the White House confirmed to Newsweek. So I wanted to find a credible source reference before we started to have this conversation. Goes in to say with charges ranging from robbery and attempted murder to drug and firearm offenses. In a statement posted to social media, the rapper said, I want to thank President Trump for granting me a pardon and giving me the opportunity to keep building as a man and as a father and as an artist. This means a lot. It opens the door to a future I've worked hard for, and I am fully prepared to step into this. He also thanked Trump's pardon czar, Alice Johnson. Now, obviously, we know that Alice Johnson is one that Trump has pardoned, and then once she got pardoned, she started working for the Trump administration as a pardon czar. So she seems to be the one that is suggesting and or overseeing all of the different pardons that's coming on behalf of Trump. NBA Youngboy continued to say, big thanks to the pardon czar, Miss Alice Marie Johnson, for fighting for second chances for so many people, and to my lawyer, Brittany Barnett, for being in my corner and all of your hard work to make this possible. Thank you to everybody who believed in me. I don't know if NBA Youngboy actually was the person that wrote this, but it was on his behalf. Prominent rapper, rise to fame with mixtapes, despite limited mainstream presence. His projects frequently top the charts. He boasts billions of views on YouTube, has 16.3 million monthly Spotify listeners, more than 15 billion total streams on 681 songs in which he appears. They said that he was running, and I'm actually familiar with this case, that he was running a prescription drug fraud ring out of his multi-million-dollar home, which I believe that home was in Utah, Salt Lake City, Utah. I actually got a chance to visit Salt Lake
Of all
City,
places.
Utah, and I was at a friend's house that was around the corner from him, and he was confined to the house.
Yeah, he had went out to Utah. I
U-Haul.
said Utah. Went out to Utah and thought he was gonna be doing what he do. They said no, and threw them charges on him real quick.
Yeah. Like they ain't gonna look at him a little bit more with more scrutiny in Utah.
They threw them charges on him. They said, "Look, you ain't gonna come out here doing all that." And he was living in Utah under house arrest. on another charge. Like, bro, NBA Youngboy to me is so bad. Like, just like he one of them bad kids from the neighborhood who always in something.
Yep. Or know exactly what's going on.
Just be just bad, you know what I'm saying? He had a whole bunch of kids, a whole bunch of baby mamas. It's crazy. And he was talking about being a father. Bro, I don't think when you was out, you was really trying to be a father. I was watching No Captivity with Freezy, and he played a clip from NBA Youngboy while he was in Utah, he was doing house arrest, and the interviewer was there, and he was like, honestly, I don't really care about my kids like that. They're only here because you're here.
Yeah.
That's what NBA Youngboy said himself.
Like that one guy, the guy was just saying he don't think NBA wrote that comment or statement, and I kind of believe it now, you know.
Yeah, because he don't even talk like that.
Yeah. Well, I mean, I'm not discounting the fact that he could have wrote it, but I mean, based upon his actions, and especially what you said that he actually said, it could be just a facade.
Yeah. He faced 63 charges. I just saw that. Wow, that's crazy. And this happened in 2024. So he really didn't do that much time, in my opinion, to really like Larry Hoover, for instance, did decades and decades.
Yep.
He did enough time to really like reform his mind and really reflect on his decisions. NBA Youngboy just got there.
Mm-hmm.
That was a weird part to me. Not saying that I don't want NBA Youngboy to get out. Someone probably is really happy. I hope that he does get out and become a father, or not become, but I hope he does get out and take care of his kids and be a
Or
father.
become a better father. That's what you said.
Yes, better father. But
yeah,
only time will tell.
Yeah. Well, that's true. I mean, it could be one of them things like you. When I was coming up, it used to be a show called Scared Straight, where they would take kids and put them in jail for a little bit with real hardened criminals, or
I
let
used
them.
to love that show. It'd be so funny.
So I mean, it could be that he had a Scared Straight moment where he was in there with some real grimy, for sake of the word, hardened criminals, and that might have freaking shook him up to the point where he might be, about to, walk a chalk line or whatever. But we'll see.
Or he paid.
That was his lawyer or PR person who wrote that statement. Angela, boy, I tell you, she own it. She own it.
I believe that.
You go, Angela.
And you know what? Honestly, I'm glad to see that he's using the PR. If you're paying for all these lawyers and all this PR, you shouldn't be coming out to Instagram and TikTok and making social media statements.
Yeah, you can't be on
poor man's PR.
Yeah, you can't be in the public eye. You can't be on the public eye and not have a PR person. Because that's all that is somebody who keep their ear to the ground to see what the public opinion is, and then they try to steer you to look good for them. If you just shoot from, I was gonna say, if you just shooting from the hip, then you might be in trouble. I feel like Trump shoot from the hip a lot.
Angela, I think Youngboy grew up without a father. I just hope he does positive things with all of his children. Yes, me too. Like, we're all rooting for NBA Youngboy.
So, growing up with and without a father and stuff doesn't necessarily make you. It's the person inside. Because I know quite a few people that grew up without fathers and stuff, and I mean, you can tell, but they still some stand-up type individual.
Talk about it, Eric. Talk about it. Let them know out here. It don't matter where you come from. It matters where you're going. And you ain't got no excuse to be a bad person.
Like I said, it's the person inside, because you can overcome just about anything. If you got the right situations and everything in place, you can overcome just about anything. So I mean,
Eric, I'm so glad you here. Because on this internet, they be like, I was raised by a single mom, a single father, so now I'm a bad person and it should be accepted because I had a hard upbringing. And
it's
that's not
just
true.
I think it's just a little harder when it's harder when you're raised by a single parent, because you only get the aspects of one opinion or one viewpoint.
Yes.
Because if a kid's raised with a mother and a father in the home, and then you get both viewpoints from it, good, bad, or indifferent, and that helps to shape you, later on in life. Now, once you don't have that other voice or the other viewpoint, then you only look at stuff from one direction or one way. Does it make it bad? No, not necessarily. If you were raised with the right compass, moral compass.
Yeah. And then even if you are raised by a single parent, like Eric said, it's still possible. It's not an excuse, but it's still possible to go and live a good life and be a good person. It will be harder, but it's not like, oh, I now have an excuse of why I'm going to be a terrible person in my whole adult life.
Exactly.
And that's what I feel like people are making it.
Make it a crutch. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. And be like, well, I know nobody expected nothing from me because I was raised in a single parent home or whatever. No, they expect a lot out of you if you were raised, regardless of where you was raised. The people expect things from you, period.
Yeah. And like you said, you can overcome any situation. I feel like a lot of times it's our mindset. It's a mindset.
Yep. It is. That's because you were growing up poor. Does that mean you're gonna want to stay poor the rest of your life? No. Hell no. Because one thing you can say if you grow up poor is I know what it's like to be poor. Let me see what the other side's like. Or somewhere in between poor and the other side, or poor and rich, middle class. And once you get to that point where you be like, look, I don't never want to go back down to this poor thing no more because I'm living good now or whatever.
Very, very true. I really do hope that Youngboy comes out and be acting right because he grew up without a father, but by him being in jail, his kids are growing up without a father.
Yep.
So he's not breaking the cycle. And that's what we need to be as cycle breakers.
It could be
not excuse makers.
It could be, he could have a good support group like his uncle or an older cousin or something, where you got a father figure, but it's not your father. I mean, you can have that, or maybe even like a close family friend that takes a vested interest in making sure that you're a rounded individual.
One thing that we can say is that he must have had somebody in his life to achieve that type of success at that young of an age. There had to be somebody there, something. Because how did he just get all this business sense as far as making the music, investing in property? You know what I'm saying? Like, along the way, there had to be somebody of positive influence there.
A support group, yeah. Yep.
Yeah, there had to be somebody.
Yep.
And that was Trump. Trump is now giving NBA Youngboy the second. Well, I didn't know this second. I feel like this is third or fourth chance because, like I said, he's been in and out of jail. He had a lot of stuff going on. We're gonna see what else Anton has to say about this subject. But yeah, Larry Hoover, NBA Youngboy, and the Chrisleys were pardoned by Trump. Their sentences commuted. Larry Hoover is still facing state charges, but I believe the Chrisleys are already out of jail. I don't know where NBA Youngboy is at in the process or if he has any state charges. that are holding him. I am not sure, but let's get back into the video.
But it seems as though I'm not really sure how you can say it's a fraud ring, but it seems as though they was basically trying to make sure that they get prescription promethazine and codeine so that, you know, the drug of choice, that's their drug of choice. Much different than what's being described as a fraud ring. But it goes on to say an extensive plea agreement resulted in a 23-month federal prison sentence, $25,000 fine, and 5 years of supervised probation. Following his release with credit for time served, he was released in April and transferred to a halfway house in Phoenix, Arizona, complete the remainder of his sentence under supervision. He served 11 months of his 23-month sentence. His decade-long history of arrest has not seemed to slow his productivity. So basically, he's just a hustler. He's been working relentlessly at home, and he just drops music regularly. So, you know, Trump has pardoned a lot of people, including the celebrity couple. I forgot what their name was, but it's a celebrity couple that got convicted of defrauding the IRS and all of this stuff. So Trump is not waiting until the end of his run as president before he started to pardon all of these different people. So I am going to keep you guys up to date on what's going on out in these streets.
But that is how NBA Youngboy looks right now.
So
I don't know if that's a mole on his face or jury, but I didn't know. Can you have jury? I don't think you can't have jury in jail.
no.
Right.
So here's what my take on that is when he got caught up, they caught up with him, you know, getting the drugs or whatever. But I think it was an attempt to distribute. They caught him before he went to distribute. Yeah. Because I mean, you got to stop.
He was just distributing. I think he was doing it himself, doing all the drugs.
You got to stockpile all of that stuff so that, you know, people know that you got it first. And how do you get it? And he got people, you know, running, you know, going in there filling prescriptions for cough syrup and stuff like that. He was getting ready to sell all of that stuff. In my opinion.
You think so?
In my opinion.
Y'all, shout out to Eric, man. It's so nice when I get to talk to Eric. My old friend from Oregon, one of my old customers, he had my food in real life. He know what it's heading for.
Right. Yep. So you said Youngboy, and you had Larry Hoover, and what was the other topic? I know it's another topic, right?
Yes. Hold on. Am I freezing? Can y'all see me?
Yeah, I can see you.
Okay. The Chrisleys, and I have some videos here that I'm about to pull up.
Oh yeah, those people.
Yes, I have some videos here, but my computer is freezing a little bit. So, but the Chrisleys is going to be our next topic that we're going to get into.
Yeah, he's like I said, he's that happy-go-lucky. Almost, if you didn't know no better, you would think that he was he liked guys. That guy.
The internet be dragging him so much because I think he'd be like getting his eyebrows waxed, getting his nails done. He just be doing like, you know, Eric, while you're up here, because Eric is a manly man, a very masculine man. How do you feel about that whole situation? Getting the eyebrows done, getting nails done, feet done. I think he even gets Botox.
I went out and got my fingers done and toes done before. You know what I'm saying?
I don't think anything's wrong with that.
I had to, you know, go out and see what it was like, you know. And that's a level of pampering and stuff that most men probably should experience at least once, just to you know, see what you ladies be going to go do. You know, getting your feet done, especially, you know, primarily your feet. Not necessarily worry about your fingers, but your feet. Go get your feet done, and see what if you like it or not. But
did you ever go back?
Huh?
Did you ever go back? Do you go like once a year?
Yeah, I've had it done a couple of times.
Working hard. You be working hard, y'all. Eric is a hard-working man.
Yeah, I had it done a couple of times, you know. And most times was enjoyment. If some about letting your feet soaking that water and having the hot rocks and sleeves and all the other stuff make you feel like you being taken care of.
Yes.
But yeah, I'd go do it again. I don't know about Botox or any of the other stuff. Get my eyebrows done, all this. Nah, there's a certain level of manhood that you have to keep continually maintain. Yeah.
So you wouldn't do Botox, Eric, when you get like a wrinkle right here? You're not gonna let anybody stick you in the face?
No, that means I lived. That's all that means. That means I have lived. And you can't hide, age. People know you old.
Honestly.
Yeah, people know you old. You gotta come to that conclusion or that point in life where you gotta realize, okay, look, if I go get Botox, now I'm not gonna look like old luggage, I look like new luggage. I'm not be wrinkled up luggage. It's just my skin gonna be tighter. Whatever. People know you old.
Like you're hiding from the truth.
That's it. And everybody knows. So you the only one that don't know, or hadn't came to grips with it.
Yeah, very true. Very true. That's why I would say, ladies and men, embrace your wrinkles. Be happy. Life is hard. Life is hard as it is,
But yeah, he said $30 million.
Maybe $30+ million. Okay, so this is the attorney for Todd and Julie Chrisley on why Trump pardoned the couple. And do you have anything to say before we get into this video?
Why he pardoned him? Let's see why he pardoned him. What
I'm mad about this because they feel like they actually did do the crime, and this is all very recent. But
I'm sure he did.
Pardon. They're out of jail. The daughter has been advocating for them while they have been in jail. A lot of people think that they may have paid and that these are Trump's friends. All right, y'all, let's get into the video.
All right, let's pivot to another case. At any moment, Todd and Julie Chrisley, stars of the reality television show Chrisley Knows Best, they're set to be released from prison. In an emotional phone call with the couple, President Trump said he's pardoning them. The Justice Department said the couple submitted false financial statements to get more than $30 million in personal loans to pay for luxury cars, designer clothes, and even more. So they were sentenced in 2022. Todd received 12 years while Julie received 7. So I want to bring in the attorney for the Chrisleys, Alex Little. Alex, thank you so much for making the time to be here, especially on this busy day and this moment when they're expected to be released. Let's talk about what's happening right now.
So,
who's supposed to be released in any moment, and talk about the moment that you heard about the pardoning.
What's up, Eric? You got anything to say?
So he had they gave him 12 and gave her 7.
Yes.
Why though? I mean, why not give them both equal time? Does that mean he did more than she did, or he stole more than she did? If they're a couple, she benefited from every little nickel that he stole, and vice versa.
You know what, Eric? I never actually thought about it like that. But you got a good point.
Huh?
I said, but you got a good point. Why does he get more time than her? Maybe they're saying that he did more. I don't really remember the details, but I never questioned that.
Or he was the ringleader. I'm sorry, I'm stumbling over my words. But yeah, maybe he was the ringleader, and they gave him more time because of that. But she just as wrong as he is. They should have went 6 and 6 or something.
Yeah, and hey, AFBM, how are you doing? We're gonna read a little bit more of your comments after we watch this video. But you're right about that. If they were married and they did the crime together, why does he have more time than her? Maybe
Mhm.
he did more, or maybe they were able to prove more on him. And then while they were locked up, they have a ton of kids. Their oldest, or not even the oldest daughter, Savannah was taking care of the younger kids. And she's not the oldest daughter. She's like kind of, I think she's like in the middle. But I'm not really too sure. But we are going to hear from the lawyer. And this is a once in a lifetime deal, in my opinion, or once in a lifetime thing to get a pardon from the president. Like, that's a big thing. Like, the president knows your case. A lot of people feel like they pay for these pardons, but who knows? Let's see. Let's get back into the video.
What was your reaction?
Sure. So first, the president signed the pardons about an hour ago, and so the process should happen pretty quickly for them to be able to be released from the facilities. Julie is held in a prison in Lexington, Kentucky, and Todd's been held in a prison in Pensacola, Florida. And so we're hoping this afternoon they will be out the doors and headed back home. In terms of hearing about this, it was great news. I mean, shortly after the call of the president, I talked to Savannah. We heard what had happened. Obviously, very shortly after that, the president of the White House published the video to the web, so everybody got to watch the phone call, and it was absolutely fantastic.
I imagine for your clients and for you as well, since you've been part of this. But talk about why they're getting pardoned. I think that's the million-dollar question, so to speak.
Yeah, I think at the core, and one of the arguments we've made to the White House for a long time is they were targeted for prosecution because they were celebrities and they had a particular sort of look to them. You know, when the case was first investigated by the FBI almost 10 years before the prosecution happened, the FBI said there's nothing to see here.
So you kind of look to him, huh?
Yet. You know.
So he's alleging that he's alleging that they were targeted because they had a certain type of look to them.
Mm-hmm.
Eric, how do you feel about this?
They targeted because they had a certain kind of look to it. No, they targeted because where the smoke is fire, and you're gonna hear me say that a lot. But yeah, no, that's what that is. You know, they had in order for, huh?
Go ahead, Eric.
No, I'm just saying, in order for them to actually, you know, launch an investigation into whatever they're doing, they had to have been doing some over the top type of stuff that drew attention. And once you draw attention, people start doing like, oh, why is he doing this? Or how did they get that kind of money to do this kind of thing? Well, we know that you know they have reality show people or whatever, but they got more, you know, whatever it is they doing, they did in excess for people to you know raise attention to them and for them to actually launch an investigation. They just got caught.
But it's crazy when white people be like, "I was targeted." You were like, "What?"
How does that feel? Yeah,
it's just weird hearing them say that. It's very weird because it's like, what? No, we are targeted, if you ask me. But y'all want to be victims in this situation, we're gonna let y'all be victims. But it sounds a little bit crazy. But I think when you're accused of fraud to the tune of $30+ million, come on now. You did something.
You did something.
Completely innocent. Like
and they found your assets. They found the assets or something. They did something. They had to have found something in order for them to actually put them in jail for it. You know, like they say, you got judged by 12, and them 12 people said that you were wrong, and you bye.
Yeah, and that's another thing. These are a jury convicts these people. So you think the whole jury was targeting you?
Yeah.
And it's like, but I wonder what is their quality of life going to be like when they get out?
It ain't gonna be the way it was at first.
Are they going to go back to the show? Where are they going to get all this money from?
Oh, you know they're gonna get a couple of deals. You know, somebody gonna have them on their talk show and stuff, and ask them, hey, how is it in prison, and stuff like that. So they'll get, and probably a book deal or something. You know, they get some money, a little bit of revenue coming in because they was already stars to begin with, right?
Yeah.
So, but I mean, I can't see anybody giving us another show because they already know. Hey, look, you stole 30 million from them other people, 30 plus million from them other people. You think we're gonna give you a chance to do it again? No.
Yeah, I would be surprised if they do get another show because a lot of these TV show or networks don't want to attach themselves to people like this with
Nope.
like crimes and criminals. Now there are some crime shit here. They would be better off on YouTube. They could start the YouTube channel, or they may already have one. But
Or a
as for
podcast or
TV,
something.
yeah, like some more like independent. Like they can get a YouTube channel and get that popping in no time. But as
Mm-hmm.
far as the networks, I don't know. But they said that they were targeted, which is it's crazy to hear them say that. Like it's crazy to hear people say that. Mm. And then AFBM said, but what does that really mean if you say you're targeted but you're guilty?
that means you 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 just pleading something that try to I guess you trying to play on people's sympathy. I was targeted.
Yeah. But did you do it though? That's what we want to know. And it sounds like they did it. So I feel like they should have finished the timeout because they did it. Because it was like
Mhm.
now in the case of Larry Hoover, he served decades in prison. He actually has enough time to reform himself. Then they only did it 2 years.
Mm-hmm.
That ain't enough time. So yeah. Okay, let's get back into the video and let's see what else we have to say. So far, they targeted, but he didn't say they didn't do it. That's one thing you don't hear is a
Yeah.
denial.
Yeah.
He said everything else, but they didn't do it. Let's see what else you got to say.
Let's move on. And after they had this hit TV show, became sort of more of a household name, became celebrities. Well, then the FBI changed their tune, and then the prosecutors and the federal government decided to actually bring a case. And that sort of selective prosecution based on.
So let me slide this back. I know you guys may not have caught it, but they did these crimes, he said, 10 years ago. And the FBI said that they wasn't going to charge them. And then when they got the TV show, that's when the FBI allegedly came back with the charges. But there's probably a statute of limitations, and they were within that statute of limitations. Just because you do a
Most definitely.
crime years ago and get caught 10 years later, don't really mean that you didn't do it.
No. You just thought you got away with it.
Yeah, exactly. So I brought it back a little bit. I want y'all to pay close attention. I'm not going to talk. I ain't going to pause it because I want y'all to hear what it said.
Prosecuting it. Let's move on. And after they had this hit TV show, became sort of. Julie is held in a prison in Lexington, Kentucky, and Todd's been held in a prison in Pensacola, Florida. And so we're hoping this afternoon they will be out the doors and headed back home. In terms of hearing about this, it was great news. I mean, shortly after the call of the president, I talked to Savannah. We heard what had happened. And obviously, very shortly thereafter that, the president and the White House published the video to the web. So everybody got to watch the phone call. And it was absolutely fantastic.
I imagine for your clients and for you as well, since you've been part of this. But talk about why they're getting pardoned. I think that's the million-dollar question, so to speak.
Yeah, I think at the core, and one of the arguments we've made to the White House for a long time is they were targeted for prosecution because they were celebrities and they had a particular sort of look to them. When the case was first investigated by the FBI almost 10 years before the prosecution happened, the FBI said, there's nothing to see here. We're not interested in prosecuting it. Let's move on. And after they had this hit TV show, became sort of more of a household name, became celebrities. Well, then the FBI changed their tune, and then the prosecutors and the federal government decided to actually bring a case. And that sort of selective prosecution based on who you are, your profile, I think that's something that this administration specifically is concerned about and felt like it justified a pardon.
Give us an inside
You know
look
what?
at what life is like after pardoning.
Yeah, hold on, let me pause this. So that's what happened. They already did the crime and they came back after they said they wasn't going to prosecute it, which it's weird. When does the FBI say that? oh, we know you
I'm gonna
did
tell
this,
you.
but we're not going to do anything about it.
I'll tell you what my opinion of it is
What's your opinion, Eric?
they probably looked at it and said, hey, look, that ain't a big enough fish for us to fry yet. You know what I'm saying? Yeah.
Ooh.
So when they looked at it was like, oh, they only stole a couple of million. We don't care nothing about all that. But as soon as they got up there and they started making that money, making real money and stuff, now, hey, look, we can throw some people, manpower towards it now because we can afford to actually persecute these people. You know what I'm saying? 30 million.
You're right, Eric.
30 million is not a whole lot. It's a lot of money to be, sneezing at. You know what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm. I think you're right. And I knew someone who went to federal prison before. And what he was saying is the feds will let you continue to commit crimes and they'll be watching you. And then so when they come get you, you'll have a big rap sheet full of crime because when they said we're not going to prosecute it, they probably took it as, oh, we can keep going. And they did.
Yep. If they said, yeah. Oh, they ain't even looking at us. So, hey, let's keep doing what we're doing. And not knowing that they got somebody, tailing them and finding out what they're doing. And like you said, they putting together a nice little dossier full of stuff on them, And now they came to a head where they were like, okay, you know what? Time's up. We tired of following you around. You done amassed a whole bunch of money. And we about to take some of it. And I'm sure on some of those arrests, I'm sure that they take some of that money and it goes towards that department, to recoup some of that time and manpower that they use following this guy around or him and her around and whatever and stuff. So they had to recoup some of their money.
That's a good point. They had to get their money back. And like I said, I think they were still watching them. I mean, they told them, hey, you good to go. And then they so stupid that they kept doing the crime.
They kept going, yeah.
Thinking that they was going to get away. And then when they went on that TV show, they probably felt like that was a slap in the face. Because it's like, dang, we told you to, we're going to let you go. But now you went and did it on a major level and then showing the whole world. They got to make an example out of you.
Look at the name of the show. The name of the show, He Knows Best. No, you don't. No, you don't. Apparently you don't. Yes. Eric can be bringing out points I didn't even think about. Shout out to Eric. Yeah. I'm telling you, apparently you don't know best. But actually they was targeted. They was victims. We got targeted. Yeah, well, you got to do something to become a target, don't you? I mean, like I said, like Frank Lucas and stuff back in when American Gangster and stuff. He was doing all of that stuff behind the scenes and stuff. And one time he got with with his woman, and she decided that they were going to go to a sporting event and that he should wear that chinchilla hat and coat. He brought attention to himself. You know what I'm saying? You stay behind the scenes. Yeah. Stop being flashy.
And that's what they were doing on that TV show. They were flashing their money. They were making everybody else feel so poor, but it wasn't their money. That was the thing about it that was crazy.
Yeah.
You stole this money, allegedly, and then you're going to come out here and tell everybody how you're a real estate tycoon. It's one of the oldest lies in the book. Oh, I do real estate. No, you don't. You're a scammer.
Yep.
And I agree with you. It was foul what he did, and the FBI didn't like it, and they put a stop to it. They threw him in jail.
Yeah, because I mean, some of them cases and stuff, they have to put them behind bars to save face. Because you'd be like, okay, you done shed a negative light to our investigative team. We got to put you in jail. You know what I'm saying?
And I feel like the Chrisleys, they were doing too much. I mean, you got up to $30 million, $30+ million, bro. You guys were never gonna stop.
Nope.
And let's
30
see when they
plus.
come out living off of that legit money. Because Trump's only gonna be president for this term. After that, it is what it is. The next man may not come and save y'all.
Yep.
So act
And,
up if
who
you want to.
who's said they won't
What do you
retry him?
say?
Who's to say they won't retry him later?
You can retry cases that you're pardoning off of.
I've heard stranger things.
But you know what? They have so many different words for charges that they could try to do something like that. That's a good point, Eric.
Don't you think about it? Look at OJ had got away from on that murder charge, right? But they kept pushing at him and stuff, and they got their other stuff going, didn't he? And I hate to bring up OJ because that's a touchy subject to some people.
It is, but it's one of those cases also that you can use as an example that everyone's gonna know about. And that is true, Eric. I didn't even think about that. They could bring these charges back up.
Yeah,
Or they
right.
could rename them under something
Yeah,
else.
well, that's what I'm saying. They persecuted them on one thing and stuff, and they went and did jail time for this one thing. But like I said, they got a dossier full of stuff that they can bring them back up on charges for. So when you're free, you ain't really free, to be honest. Black people get red flagged by the FBI at 10,000. Why do they wait for a white person to get 35 million? Well, hey.
That's a good point. That's why when he said we was targeted, me and Eric started laughing. What are you talking about?
You targeted. Boy, go ahead with yourself. Going on with your little targeting.
Y'all need to stop. Now y'all getting a taste of how they treat us, and y'all running scared, talking about something. They trying to get us, and it's not even that deep.
No.
Bro, you did it. And I believe it was 36 million, but I'm saying 30 plus just to be on the safe side. But yeah, they can't wait to get us. And you see how they did Larry Hoover? He's been locked up for decades. Why ain't nobody come pardon him after 2 years or a couple of years? But when they go to prison, they get out for 2 years, and they just got up to $36 million allegedly. It's just, and then say we targeted. Shit would have said something else instead of that.
Right? That's funny. That's funny within itself, right there.
Yeah,
we was targeted.
What?
He was targeted because I'm a
Lady,
real
how are
estate.
you doing? How are you doing? How are you doing? Lady's one of my top moderators here on YouTube. She always be in here when I be cooking. I be cooking a lot on YouTube, and I like to do this time for tea, where we talk about hot topics. Shout out to the show. And we got Eric, and we also got Eric on the panel for the first time ever, y'all. Eric is my mentor, one of my old crew. I used to work with him. I used to serve him food. He actually ate my food before. And I remember when I left that job, he always kept in contact with me, and he told me how much they miss me. I appreciate that so much, Eric.
She said, Mr. New Luggage.
Okay, Lady said, not just when you cook, you show cook out. Not just when you cook out, some respect on my like I said, when I cook and when I be doing my lives here. Ladies always here, and y'all ain't gonna come say nothing crazy to me when Ladies in the chat. She's not finna have it. But yeah, this is a crazy story. Do you have anything to say before we get back into this video about the Chrisleys?
Like I said, like I said, it's just an interesting little thing that they with them. But go ahead. I want to hear more about this whole little I was targeted case.
That's a defense, Eric, and they sticking to it.
Mhm.
What a relief. What happens next? Do they owe money? Do they continue a reality show? What happens?
Yeah, so there's two
Ooh.
pieces to that. The first is the legal side, is the case is essentially wiped off the board. And so it's as if it didn't happen. There's no more sentence to be had, no probation. It's over and done. As to their lives, I mean, they're both, they have family, and I suspect they'll focus on that family. They've also been very public people, and I would not be surprised at all if they continue to be in a public role now that they're sort of getting back to their lives.
So, Alex, let's talk about the here and now. Are you waiting by the phone to know when your client's going to be released? Is there a timeline? What are they saying to you?
Yeah, no, it literally could be any minute they're allowed to walk out those doors. So we are absolutely waiting on a phone call and text.
And what have been your conversations, if you're allowed to kind of share publicly? They must be ecstatic. Are they surprised? Are they relieved? What are they feeling right now?
Yeah, I'll just say I think that neither of them expected this to happen. I think they both hoped that it might. But when you're in prison, you need to focus sort of day to day what your life looks like and try to be good to your family and good to those around you. And they were obviously thrilled when they heard that President Trump had decided to issue their pardons. And I think it probably hasn't quite sank in yet, and I think it probably won't sink in until they're together again. They haven't seen their kids for a couple of years. They haven't been together in the same place physically as a couple, and so I think it'll take a little bit of time to sink in. But they're obviously very, very happy with this result.
Did you think this result would happen?
I was always optimistic. I think this is a case from the day that I got involved. I wasn't involved in the trial. I sort of got on this case after they were convicted. And I was continually surprised at how many issues with the case there were and how many real problems with the prosecution and things that certainly did not look like justice as I knew it. And so I was always optimistic that the president would see this case the way we saw it. And ultimately he did.
You have to agree there's a public fascination with this. And I imagine as they're released, they're going to have some backlash at the same time, correct?
Yeah, I mean, look, anytime this president in particular makes a decision, there's going to be backlash. I think this is a very well-justified pardon decision. They weren't like huge donors. There was nothing like that. They just had a case where they were clearly targeted for who they were.
All right. Anything else, Alex Little? Well, we have you.
So that's what he's standing on. They were targeted. They don't have to pay any of the money back. And lady said she liked Mr. New Luggage. He fun. Yes, y'all. This Eric up here. We love Eric over here at 907 Goodies. Eric is the reason why we up here at 907 Goodies. He told me years ago, he was like, you need to get up out of the kitchen and rebrand yourself like Rachel Ray. And here I am today. All because of Eric's advice.
Mr. New Luggage. I guess that's my new nickname.
Yes. Eric, what do you think about the Chrisleys getting pardoned, not having to pay any of the money back? And as of now, I believe that they have been released. They were released yesterday, I believe.
I think they should pay some restitution. I really do. You done sold 30-something million from various sources or whatever and stuff. You should pay some of that money back. You don't see no common people having to, get away scot-free. You know what I'm saying? Just because you're a star and stuff, you took that 35 million. Oh, you good. You just hold on to that. Do whatever you're gonna do. You was a mess. Huh?
I agree with you because you see somebody get in a car wreck, hit a fence, and have to pay to get the fence fixed or whatever property they messed up. You see poor people all the time at restitution.
Yep, they should have a whole bunch of community service or something. Actually, they should have them out there picking up trash on the side of the highway. And have that little truck that they be riding in there. Put a sign on there saying, "Hey, look, the Chrisleys are above, in front of us picking up trash." So they make a celebrity thing about it since they want to be celebrities and they feel like they're being targeted.
Eric, you're so right. They should be doing community service, something.
Yeah.
Something.
Out there at a soup kitchen and stuff, serving up soup, since you think you're so much better than somebody, then you should be, go up there and serve the people that you thought you were better than. Because I mean, like right now, if you went in there, you served that little time and stuff. That's like a little smack on the hand, and they pushed him back out and told him basically, "Hey, look, you all right? You know, we just did that to save face." Yep.
Yeah, you're absolutely right. They should have some restitution, community service, something. But shout out to the lady. She said keep the stove on and hot, even though no food now. And that's not true. We're gonna have some food today. We're gonna get back in the kitchen. Today. She also said, sis, maybe you should invite Mr. New Luggage to dinner. He a chocolate nice. I'm just saying. He foodie gang. He got the sense of humor. Lady trying to get me on an episode of what used to be Jerry Springer. Y'all, Eric is a hardworking married man with kids and everything, and I respect him so much. But and Eric lives in Oregon. But if Eric did live in Alaska, he would be invited to the cookout.
Yep. Yeah, I already know. You know.
And
You used to pay for
he's
the.
happy.
Mhm.
What were you saying, Eric?
Yeah, I was gonna say, yeah, you know, because one thing I was always going. Alaska's always been on my to-do list. One of these times I was gonna go up there because I'm really fascinated with the whole little the daytime nighttime cycle stuff that you guys go through. I'd like to see it, firsthand.
Honestly surprised that you have not been to Alaska before, or because as like a you can take a cruise, but you and your wife should definitely come down here and bring the kids too if they're not in college or something like that. I'm surprised that you haven't put it on your bucket list and got
Shout out
serious.
shout out to my middle son. He's graduating next week.
Oh, congratulations.
Yeah,
I'm happy for you, for the kiddos.
I'm an old man. Old man.
And you know what? Shout out to the Foodiegang, because the Foodiegang is determined to find me a man. Eric be texting me or hitting me up and telling me what I need to look for. Lady trying to give me a husband. On the case. Y'all's on the case.
See, I'm telling you.
Eric, tell them what type of man you think I need.
The PG version.
Whatever
I
version you want to tell.
I told him that like I tell you all the time. You got a somewhat older soul. Than your age. So you would probably gel better with an older guy. I think, but that's my opinion.
And how much older should I go? Because Eric even told me the number of years I need to go. Y'all, they are serious about this.
Yeah, I was saying, between 5 and 7, maybe at least 5. I would even go as far as to say 10.
10, so like it's someone in his 40s.
Yeah, I would even say 10.
Y'all, the Foodie ain't gonna find me a man. Don't even worry about it. I'm gonna play that money video really quick for shout out to Lady for coming through with the super chat. I'm gonna play that money video really quick. You guys support the channel, support the channel, support the channel.
Thanks for coming through, Lady. Miss Lady.
All right, here we go. Real quick. Hold on, Eric. Let me play this video real quick. Hold on, Eric. Foodie gang. Foodie gang. All right, shout out to the Foodie Gang. Shout out to Lady. What were you saying, Eric?
Well, no, I was saying shout out to Miss Lady for coming on and oh, there she go.
But we're not mad at all, Lady. We're not mad at you. Look, me and Eric got thick skin. And that's why they was mad at us at the job, because we used to be laughing, joking, and everything. But me and
Mhm.
Eric got thick skin. We're not mad.
Yeah. Yep. Sure. I remember when you were married. Remember?
Yes, look, I'm telling you, Eric, me and Eric go way back. Eric was there when I was she actually was pregnant with Ava at that job.
Man, time fly, don't it?
Yeah, I was like, when I was pregnant, I was so sick though. But yeah, I was actually pregnant. Remember when I broke my foot? I had the little knee scooter.
Which time?
During COVID.
Which time? And then you
What
do
do
it
you mean,
twice?
which time?
Huh?
No, I didn't. It was only one time I broke my foot.
Oh, you
It
know
just
what?
got
It was.
passed for like 3 months, and then I had the knee scooter. It was a long situation.
Yeah, that knee scooter was so built.
Look, they messy out here. She said, "Ooh, real T, Eric. Okay, Eric Spilly."
Yeah, she don't know. You know, go back a long way. You know.
Yeah. Lady said he got some secrets. Yes, y'all. I'm telling y'all, Eric was speaking this channel to existence before I even knew I was gonna have 907 goodies. So he told me that this is what I needed to do, and I listened. I listened years later, which I wish I would have listened immediately. But when it's God's time, it's God's time.
You're right. Absolutely right.
Yeah. Yeah. When it's God's time, it's God's time. And God said that young NBA Youngboy, Larry Hoover, and the Chrisleys are
Shit, walk free. Yeah, 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 yeah. Yeah, no, it was in crazy topics though. Like I say, Trump pardoning people and people getting away with 30 plus $million and with scot free, no kind of restitution, none of that stuff. I don't know. You got to worry about what kind of world you living in, though. You know.
Yeah.
Well, where we going?
And I actually have another video here that's talking about how the Chrisleys are going to be, they're going to be criminal. Let me just pull it up. They're going to be criminal justice reform advocates, which is what we were saying. I was saying Big Meat should have kind of got on this bandwagon. When you get out of prison, you can use that to help people and reform. But do we trust the Chrisleys? I don't think so.
Nope. Not with no money. Definitely not with no money.
But they're going to become criminal justice reform advocates.
Oh,
Just
Miss Lady.
years.
You missed that part, Miss Lady. We were talking about that. About Trump losing Elon.
Yeah.
We talked about that already.
Elon said he's done. But if you guys remember Trump's last cabinet, the last time he was president,
He
pretty
tried.
wild. It was pretty. There's a lot of people getting hired and fired. It was pretty wild last time. But Elon did try, and I kind of reported on it about the Doge, Department of Government Efficiency. It seemed like Elon was doing a good job. Right?
Like I said, hey, all we saw was what was above the covers. You know, it's a lot of stuff that go on below them covers and stuff that you don't see. That Elon saw that he decided he was just going to bolt out. So, like I said, it's something there that Elon don't want to be part of.
Mm-hmm. How long till you think we find out?
I just reading Miss Lady's comment.
Yeah. And you can read the comments out loud if you want to, Eric. Feel free, we'll be chilling over here.
Is she a ninja?
She said, I'm always here.
Yeah,
But how
yeah.
long do you think before we find out why Elon really left, or before we find out why Trump is pardoning all these people?
Mm-hmm. Because I mean, Elon is out there doing what all of the rest of these celebrities doing, and that's another topic that you should bring up. Why are all these celebrities out here having all these dang kids? Like a Nick Cannon and Elon Musk and stuff. He got a butt ton of kids too, and who else? So there's quite a few of them. Just having kids, just whatever. I mean, but if you can afford them, I guess you can go ahead and do what you do.
Mm-hmm. That kids topic, that's gonna be a touchy one. People think that if you can afford them, have kids, but kids need more than just money. It's also time.
You're right.
You
It's
know
an
what I'm
investment.
saying? Like it's more than money. You know.
Mm-hmm.
You said, why ever have these kids? Because they love them. Or they
Yeah.
love making them.
Yeah.
One of the two.
What they say, they like it ain't the fact that they had them, they like practicing. Anybody like to practice? Yeah, the actor.
What? Lady got the tea. Okay, lady said, did y'all see Kevin Hart messing with Nick Cannon and told him to show up? And when he did, he didn't know he was on a game show called Who Gonna Have NC Baby. I don't know if that's the truth, lady, but I'll research it. We can talk about it tomorrow for time for tea. I'm gonna play this video and we're gonna listen to the fact that they're gonna be criminal justice reform advocates. And this is a little bit more about the pardoning. Like you said, Eric, some people are gonna be cool with it and some people are not.
Gonna be a lot of people.
Alice Johnson, the White House pardon czar, is with us live this morning. Thank you so much for being here. Boy, your phone must be ringing off the hook, and we'll talk about that in a moment. But first, the pardon of the Chrisleys.
Wow.
Savannah says it couldn't have happened without you. Can the same be true and said of her in this whole thing?
Absolutely. I've been working relentlessly since I stepped into my new position. This is within my first 60 days of being pardon czar officially at the White House.
It's an incredible story, a lot of which has been followed because of their
Wow.
celebrity. You yourself, though, Alice, were pardoned. You spent 2 decades in a federal prison for a drug offense before you were released, thanks in large part to Kim Kardashian and pleading your case to President Trump during his first term. You have a remarkable story. Define what you've been through to get to this point and how you take on this task now in this role aside President Trump.
Well, when I was first released from prison, even while I was in prison, I worked hard with the women. I advocated for them inside of the prison for whatever was going on with them. So I made a commitment to them that I would never stop fighting for them. I will be 7 years free in a few days. In fact, tomorrow is my birthday, and that's the day that Kim went to the White House. And I have worked relentlessly on clemencies and pardons. I took many cases to the president even before being appointed over these past years that I've been out. And he's seen that I carefully consider every case. I know not only their stories, but I make sure that I'm selecting people who have either been rehabilitated, who pose no safety risk. And also, we look at cases where there has been obvious weaponization against these individuals. So I continue to work. I said that I didn't hit the ground running. I hit the ground working.
I appreciate that. And happy birthday, early birthday to you, Alice. Ultimately, this is about second chances. You got one. Does everyone deserve a second chance? And what do you say to the victims of violent crimes whose perpetrator says they've been rehabilitated and would be up for a pardon?
everyone, in my opinion, does not deserve second chances. But I remember when Kim K went to the White House to advocate on this woman's behalf and get her release. It sounds like she now wants to pay that forward. What do you have any thoughts about what we just saw, Eric?
Right. I think that's what she's doing is paying it forward. She's like, you know what? And I don't know. This is the first time I ever heard of a pardon czar, but hey, I wonder if she got a cabinet or some people that do investigations to find out, hey, who was wrongfully in prison or whatever, or who needs, to be pardoned. And I'll be totally, interested to find out what entails the whole little investigation of how do you become, a person that they look at, and how much is that? How much does the pardon czar position pay? That's what I like to know that too.
Yeah.
She got a little hot pink fuchsia little outfit on and stuff. Boy, hey, you can't tell her nothing. Look like she just came out of church or getting ready to go to church. She just missing that big hat.
Look, this is what you call a 3-piece suit. I bet you her pants match.
Mm-hmm. Missing that big hat and a handful of peppermint.
But I think what she's doing is a good thing. I'm surprised about the NBA Youngboy because I don't feel like he was wrongfully convicted. It sounded like he did it. The Chrisley is kind of surprising. Now I get Larry Hoover though, because he has been in prison for a long time. And then lady said, what did she do? This is Alice Johnson. And I can't remember what she did, but I looked it up really quick.
They had it on there. On the video.
Okay.
Yeah, if you go back to when they first introduced her and pause it, they had it up there. That's what when they showed it, I was like, oh, look at that. So
it says that she was a prisoner for 21 years and she was involved in a cocaine trafficking organization. So look, like Eric said though, but it would be smart to because she looks like a good upstanding citizen. So if they used her allegedly, you wouldn't think anything of it.
Nope. Nope. Well, I mean, you got to think too. If she did 20-something years in jail, right? What's next? Free no Diddy.
They gotta throw Diddy under the jail.
Okay.
Don't deserve a pardon if the charges are true, the allegations are true.
The human trafficking. I mean, all the freaky stuff that he did, that was on him. Hey, but the human trafficking, he probably shouldn't. If that was the case, then yeah, throw the book at him. But you can't stop somebody from being a freak if that's what we so choose to be.
Oh my goodness, Eric, you are so funny.
I mean, you got to think about it. There's a lot of freaks out there that they freaks in the privacy of their own home. He just did it on a grander scale, and from what it looked like all of them stars knew that that's what he was about.
Oh yeah, everybody knew.
Yeah.
One thing I was saying was, where is everybody else at? We know where they are. They're on trial. They are witnesses who are going to tell on Diddy, is what it seems like. So that they don't get charged with him. Is what it seems like, in my opinion. You stay eating. Y'all, this is how Eric always was at work. He was always snacking on something. He was always talking about somebody. But one thing I would say, Eric was like everybody's dad. Everybody would go to him and get his advice, tell him their problems. And everybody like, I'll tell you what you got to do.
It wasn't that blunt.
No, everybody, I'll tell you what you got to do. People like, you young. You're going to remarry. You're going to get another man. Don't worry.
Yeah, it's coming. Don't rush it. Mm-hmm.
But shout out to Eric. And I think that that's what Alice Johnson wants to do. She wants to help other people. I think the Chrisleys deserve this, though, in my opinion.
Like you
Maybe
said, penny
5
forward.
years. No, the Chrisleys, lock them up, keep them locked up. So a lot of people are mad about that. They feel the type of way, but I do think Larry Hoover was made sense. Now NBA Youngboy, I don't know, but hopefully he stays out of jail. I'm gonna play this video. We're gonna see what else you got to say.
Well, the ones who I've really been looking at are those who pose no safety risk, don't have victims of violent crimes. These people
That's what I'm talking
need to
about.
be returned to their families. They really get a chance to have a second shot at life, a second chance. And that's what the president wants. He honestly ran this race saying that he was a president for all Americans, even those who deserve a second chance or who may not have a voice. And he's put me in position to be their voice.
Let's talk about the Chrisleys for a moment. What was their reaction to the pardon, and who was the one to tell them, Alice?
Well, I was there with the president when he called them. So he was the one who told them. And I know my eyes look a little bit red this morning because I've been talking to families. We've been
She was smoking.
rejoicing. We've been crying. He called
You smoking that
Why you
Uzi?
was gonna say that?
See, and that's why I was a little red this morning. I just want to apologize.
Yeah.
I had
I
some
knew
of
you was
that
gonna
good.
say that.
I had some of that good.
Good. She came out with a story because she knew we was looking at her eyes.
Mhm.
But yeah, there's a pardon Caesar. I didn't know that. Or Caesar, I didn't know that either. I don't know if they always had that position or if they created it for her. I am not
Mhm.
sure. But one thing we can say is Eric, and let me know if you agree. It seems like Trump wants the black people on his side. Or is looking out for us. Which, I mean, what do you think about that?
Well, you got people in key positions that I ain't gonna say key position because that's not really a key position. It's just somebody who sheds light on people who are in there and that would benefit from a second chance. I think. But yeah, oh girl, I'm rolling up now. Good. Breakfast brunch is 4:20 somewhere.
Look, she said my eyes a little red.
Yeah, she said that.
In there.
Yeah, you just have to take what hey, you take what she gave you. Because she gave you that. That was one of them. Hey, that's a gift that keep on giving. Let me see what she gonna say. Oh yeah, I want to apologize for my eyes being a little red. I smoked a little too much this morning. Because she one of them older ladies and stuff. She probably some of that good. Yeah. No, she one of them ladies that look like she probably go to sleep around 9:00. So she got some good sleep. Come out her eyes red. I stayed up late. I was up to about 9:30. Look.
I'm gonna go back. See
She hey, a whole hour past Wheel of Fortune and stuff, and so that was late for her.
Yeah. Hey, how are y'all doing, Blaze and Fear No Mortals? We are talking about Trump pardoning the Chrisleys, NBA Youngboy, and Larry Hoover, and there's also a list of other names. He pardoned a bunch of people, but some names that stuck out were the Chrisleys, NBA Youngboy, and Larry Hoover. I was like, what? And Eric came up, one of my old friends. He came up to tell us about Larry Hoover, and we are just having a good time up here. And this is Alice Johnson. She actually was pardoned. Kim K advocated on her behalf, and now she's a pardoned Caesar. I wonder if that position's always around. Lady said I look the same.
Oh, lady, go on. Go on, lady.
Right. Alice Johnson just said, I know my eyes are a little red. I've been crying. And we were like, what?
Crying
Why
for
she
what?
even have to put that in there?
Hey, I ain't hear I've been crying part. She said I heard my eyes a little red, and I just instantly ran off with that.
Okay, I'm gonna go back a little bit. I think she was talking about how she was crying because of the families, but let's see. Let's see. Okay.
Well, I was there with the president when he called them. So he was the one who told them. And I know my eyes look a little bit red this morning because I've been talking to families. We've been rejoicing. We've been crying. He called Savannah to let her know that her parents were being set free. This woman has worked relentlessly for her parents. I know that everyone who's in prison wish they had an advocate like Savannah Chrisley. To be able to be reunited with her parents. I talked to Todd yesterday in the vehicle while he was leaving prison, and that man was in tears. And we have a new advocate now. You can believe that this couple is going to be a force to be reckoned with in the criminal justice reform space.
I know you'll be
Just don't
teaming up.
trust them
If
with
they
your
weren't
money.
celebrities, Alice, though, would they have been pardoned?
What'd you say?
I said just don't trust them with your money. Hey, they stole one time. Don't ever give them put them in a position to steal again. Just saying.
That is very true. Don't trust them with your money. They took from the banks. You know they gonna take from you.
He's a Larry Hoover got part. Yeah, Blaze. Yeah, he got part. He's locked up. Yeah, he got locked up when well shit. When he went to jail, I was 1 year old. He was old. 1 year old. So he been in jail 50 plus years.
And he got pardoned. He now has state charges, 200 years that he has to face, and they're hoping that the governor will pardon him, and then he'll walk free. But he's on his way to state prison now. And then Fear No More said, weren't they scammers? Yes. The Chrisleys were scammers, but their daughter, Savannah, she went to the she has been making speeches and she has really been advocating on their behalf. I feel like that helped a lot too with having someone on the outside advocating for you to get free. They said the Chrisley's lawyer said that they were targeted because of how they looked. And the scamming happened years ago. But the FBI said, you're free to go. We're not going to do anything about it. And then when they got on the TV show and started bragging, they came back years later and said, hey, remember that scam, that fraud you was doing? Okay, now you done racked up to 36 mil. Get behind these bars. So Todd Chrisley got 12 years. The wife got 8 years, I think it was.
7 or 8. 7.
Yeah, 7 or 8 years. But yeah, there was definitely some scammers. That whole thing is crazy, but now they're going to become advocates and help people reform. But do you really believe that they have pure intentions, Eric?
Pure intentions? They probably do. They probably scared straight now. Because the thing about it is, okay, they didn't do the regular run of the mill crime. You know what I'm saying? They stole. Yeah, it was in 73. Yeah, I was a year old then. Yeah.
Yes, Larry Hoover's been locked up for a long time, and I had to go back and kind of like do my research about that, and that's why I'm glad Eric came up to educate me about Larry Hoover and let me know he's a big tool.
But yeah, no, like I was saying though, they didn't do the regular run of the mill crime. You know, that was 30-something million. You know, they wasn't doing regular time. They was in there, in Club Med. You know. But even
and
then,
they don't have to pay back any money. They don't have to pay back any money. of the $36 million. That's
I bet you.
crazy.
I bet you their daughters and their kids and stuff. They ain't missed nothing. Your mother was a
And
child. Yeah. I was just learning to walk in '73.
yeah. Look, I was still with God, and I wasn't even thought of yet. I came in '93. That's why I said I had to really do my research on Larry Hoover. I've heard the name over the years, but until this happened with the pardon, I didn't know about the 6 life sentences. I didn't know about the 200 years. Like, I didn't know the details.
Mm-hmm. She lives here too.
Yes, and F&M, we love F&M over here. I always see F&M
But
in the channels, other people's channels. That's like, these are my YouTube friends, Eric. Eric is my friend in real life. He actually ate my food before, y'all. So when I be saying I know how to cook, I ain't telling no lies. F&M said Hoover should have been out years ago. I know a lot about it. I hope he gets out of state. Yeah, I do think that man is in the 70s. He done did all them years in prison. Like, come on now, let him come out here and live the rest of his life in peace.
mm-hmm.
Now he gets out and starts doing like what he was doing before. That's a different subject. But I don't think he's.
You're in your '70s. You should get out there and enjoy your grandkids, great grandkids, great grandkids if you got them. You know what I'm saying? That's what you should be doing. That out trying to teach them how to fish and doing stuff like that. You shouldn't be out there trying to do none of that extracurricular stuff. But I mean, I know I would assume that it would be hard for him to be out there because he doesn't really have a work history, so he can't really and truly draw a retirement or nothing. So money would be an issue, I would assume, after doing all of that time.
Yeah. One of the content creators I watched
How
get educated.
he ate your
She
food in real life, and I didn't get a damn plate. She waiting on your answer.
Tell him how, Eric. No, you tell him, Eric.
Tell her how I ate her food. She worked for a company that served food, and she was one of the main chefs that came out, and she was always coming up with trying to do little creative stuff. As far as they would let her be creative, so she would throw something out there, and she would come in. I come into the cafeteria, and she would be like, "Hey, look, I wouldn't eat that if I was you. That over there." I tried it. It ain't the business. Hey, you probably better off going over there to the short order side and get you a hamburger or something. But don't do that main dish over there because it ain't right.
Yeah,
they would
always ask me what they can and can't eat.
That's right. You gotta come in and get the scoop. Like, look, I'm about to spend some money here on that right there. I don't want to be disappointed. She came through.
And then Fear No More said, "Hey friend, how was 907 cooking?"
Yeah, how was 907 cooking? 907. 907, yeah, she did her thing. She did her thing, I'm trying to figure out you didn't never have a signature dish though.
I always made a bunch of different stuff. Even now, I don't feel like I have a signature dish. Because I be cooking everything. Well, I would say spaghetti because I make it a lot. But it's like I just be cooking everything.
Yeah. I mean, one thing I could think of that kind of stood out though, she made this bomb tuna melt though. That was pretty good.
I remember those on the grill. Oh
Yeah,
yeah,
she did a bomb tuna melt.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it was bomb.
Yeah. Yeah. And you know what? I actually made it again on my YouTube channel. But I love me some tuna melts. Blaze said I love 9-7. She's a sweetheart, but I don't know. She might turn into the ops if I don't get my plate. Look, you gotta do what Eric did. You gotta pull up. Eric came to my line.
That's it. Daily.
And then they would always come down to the cafe and chop it up with me. You know, I always feel like when you're around people, for me, I want to know who I'm around. So I like talking to people.
She called me Mr. New Luggage. I'm telling you. Oh, I do a little something.
You could.
I do a little something. Yeah, I do a little something. Ain't nothing flashy. Yeah, it ain't nothing flashy and stuff. I can throw some. Give me a recipe. I'll throw it down.
Yes, Eric is definitely still breathing. And F&M is talking about Larry Hoover. She said, trust me, people will have his back. A lot of people. I think he will be fine, honestly. And that was kind of the vibe I was getting from another content creator that was talking about it. That he said Hoover gonna be fine, but he needs to stay out of trouble. And the younger people should want to take care of him. It shouldn't even be like he got to prove nothing. He already did that. But now, do y'all remember how Big Meats was acting? Big Meats, Little Meats, the whole. Hopefully, Hoover don't get caught up in nothing like that. And I don't think he will.
He a little older, you know, so he ain't really got that kind of, you know. If anything, I would probably, like I said, and like I said before, you know, he would probably kind of fall in with like a Scarface of the Ghetto Boys or somebody like that.
And like you said, we don't do signatures, Mr. New Luggage. We chefs, we cook it all. Yeah, that's what I'm talking about. We make a little bit of everything. People be like, what do you love to eat? Or what do you love to cook? Everything. Because I'm trying to eat everything. And like you said, ain't no special orders. Not until I get my plate. I tell y'all what y'all gotta pull up. Yeah. That's your name, Mr. New Luggage. Oh, wait, we
That's
got
it.
lady. Come up here to talk to you, Mr. New Luggage. What's going on, lady?
Hey, Mr. New Luggage. Ain't none y'all laugh. You know I gotta get my camera off because it's 4. I'm a lady. So I don't want to be on a camera, 420 it out because I'm a lady.
I hear you.
Ain't nothing wrong with that.
We don't do signatures here. We don't say, yeah, this is where you can get your fresh, pot pie over here plus some meals over here, or you get your. We don't do all that. We leave that for the W's peoples. That when they want to do their little only cooking channel, we do real shit over here. But Mr. New, man, on a little is not ramen packets of any flavors and a bowl of cereal. What can you do? Be Pacific.
Are you talking to Eric or Mr. New Luggage?
Yep.
She said ramen packets.
Then I can't say I make beef, chicken, shrimp, all kinds of ramen. I even put an egg in there when it's done. No. Call it pasta.
Yeah. That's what do you call it? Jailhouse pasta.
I'm black too. Oh, that's
Yeah.
We don't call that flavor spaghetti.
Flavor spaghetti. Mr. New Luggage. Yeah. I can do a little something. Like I said.
Oh yeah, okay, Eric. Go ahead and tell us what you be whipping up. Do you be grilling?
She said, "Do I be whipping up?"
Yeah. You grill?
I don't really and truly grill per se.
I'm glad he told the truth because I'm tired of brothers be like, man, that's where I live.
No, I ain't saying that.
No, a lot of men say that the food like as hell. Like it's Cajun. That's how you know it's cooked. Right. I can't even taste it.
I'm gonna say it like this. I won't let nothing burn. I'll put it that way. Ain't
Time
nothing burning on my watch.
you flip over on time, I got you.
Yeah, that's right. Ain't nothing burning on my watch.
I be on panel. I used to be on panels a lot, but they got mad at me when I told the truth. When we used to talk about real shit, like how to take care of your men as a wife, when they was talking about people was being slavery if they was wives, and they get mad when I tell them the truth, and then I throw God up in there. Well, God, God made us, for the men. Yeah, He made us for both and all that. Girl, they didn't want to hear me no more, so I just slow down in front of the panels, and I be stuff like this. Because they don't like the truth because I'm a wife and I know how to, be a wife, and they don't want to hear, and I was a nurse and everything. Kevin Samuels said, rest in peace, King. Salute to you. I miss him. He was right. It's a lot of nurses out there, little wacko quackos, but I was one that worked all those hours, came home, never complained, made sure my house was in order, made sure the dinner was served, you know what I'm saying, and never had no complaints. So not all nurses is like that, and it's sad that they look at them like that. But I kept, so they didn't want to hear me no more. They was like, "Oh, she on my nerve."
Yeah, they got a lot to say about everybody, honestly. And just live your life, be happy, take care of your family.
Yeah,
And that's
That's
it.
it. And what?
Hate on you, bruh. I don't want to be a part of the loud ass crew. If you ain't part of the rah sisterhood, they don't like you. I'm not gonna be a part of that. Noisy. I like peace, and they get shocked because I say I like peace, and I'm a woman. Yeah, I'm not rowdy like that, babe. I'm not gonna sit there and get in your face and argue with you. I'm from Chicago. We don't do that. If you're a threat, you the we see what it's about, and then I just pray for you. You know what I'm saying? That's how I get.
Yes.
I get there. Just pray for these people.
That's it.
I ain't finna act all
Because
hood.
they need it.
I used to tell
Yeah, they be up here beefing, Eric. They be up here beefing, but I stay out of it because I'm here for something else. I'm not here to be arguing with people.
Right.
But lady, how do you feel about the topics that we're talking about, where Trump is issuing all these pardons for the Chrisleys, NBA Youngboy, and Larry Hoover, and a host of other names?
I think Trump needs to pay attention to what's important. That's not important.
Right.
And if they innocent, then yeah. We know how NBA Youngboy is. I don't know how innocent he is, but is he doing for what? Clout? I don't know. Is it for real? So I think he needs to do what he's messing up. You know what I'm saying? So he doing so much and all that stuff he was saying, and I told people, I was like, don't vote for him. He telling you all this stuff. Exactly, Fair No More. I love her. They Eric, right there, that beautiful lady you see right there, that's a real woman, a woman of God right there. You will love hearing her speak because you gonna be like, she real, she for real. But anyways, shout out to Fair No More. But anyways, he needs to pay attention to what is important in those situations. He ain't doing what he doing right. He's fucking up, and we all know it. He's messing up. A lot of people lost a lot of jobs.
Mm-hmm. And continually losing a lot of jobs too. You know.
Silly.
Blaze said people come on this app and act like children on the damn playground. So you're saying that what he doing, this is not important as far as the pardons. There's bigger issues that need to be addressed.
Yes.
Is what you're saying, and I think you're right about that, lady. It's like if you really think about it, this like if it was important, like Eric already said, in your first term, why didn't you pardon Larry Hoover if you really cared?
Thank you.
And everybody, the other two people, I think they could have stayed in jail for real, for real. Like
it's clout.
They not enough time to get reformed, or they haven't had enough time.
I agree with Blaze, man. I ain't gonna lie. Blaze always got something real to say. he act like he ain't got no voice. I'm like, man, you always got something to bring to this table when we on our conversation. But
you're absolutely right about this is not that important when you put it to like what Eric was talking about, the jobs being lost, the fact that the food prices are high, gas is high, people are homeless. Like there's bigger issues that could be getting addressed. And maybe that's why Elon is on his way out the door, or it's already out the door.
So why is New York the way it is? Why they can't lower, how these people lower some of these rent prices, you know what I'm saying? Why I gotta be $3K? Hold on, y'all. Probably gotta get in. I think this is my assistant at the door. Let me pause this.
But we've been up here for 3 hours, y'all, and I gotta go get Ava ready for gymnastics. I'm going to I want to barbecue today. I'm gonna do some prep. Tune into my YouTube channel. But before we get up out of here, I want to get everybody's final thoughts. And I hope that we see you again, Eric. I love having you on the panel. I love when we have our conversations. Y'all, Eric is so funny and he has so much advice and knowledge to give. Someone I have a lot of respect for. But let me get your final thoughts on everything we talked about this show.
Yeah. Well, like I said, with the initial release of Larry Hoover and the Chrisleys and all that other stuff, I really think that it's what they said, it's a diversion to take your attention away from what he's really doing in the background. You know what I'm saying? They say a lot of people. Yeah, they say a lot of people do things and stuff. It's the okie doke. That's what they used to say back in the day. It's the okie doke. Now I'm gonna put this out there, and then I know a lot of people are gonna be mad about me letting this guy out, but I'm doing this right here behind the scenes. Mm-hmm. I believe that's what's going on there. It's the old diversionary tactic for that. And let me see, you had the Chrisleys and Larry Hoover, and then the other topic was
NBA Youngboy.
Yeah, NBA Youngboy.
We're talking about the pardons, and we kind of talked about a little bit everything, but the pardons, yes.
Yeah, I don't know much about his situation or whatever he did, but if they let him out, I hope he make the best out of that second opportunity, the second chance.
Mm-hmm.
Because if not, then
what else you got to say, Eric, about the Chrisleys being targeted?
Oh, them being targeted? Yeah, okay. I guess we can talk about that all day, about them being targeted. Until you ride down the street and somebody asks you for your insurance or some other stuff and or stop you just because you look a certain way, that's being targeted. What they having is not being targeted. That's just basically it was just, I think it was pretty decent detective work, and they just got caught up. That's just me.
That's what it sounds like.
Yep. And like you said, if they didn't get them 10 years ago, that's because they wasn't a big enough fish to fry. That's all it is.
Mm-hmm.
Yep. That targeted my foot.
Eric, well, tell everybody I said hi at the job, and thank you so much for coming. I hope to see you up here again. And Blue, you're coming up here just when we're closing out the show.
You leaving?
And I will be up here for more hours, but I got to go, y'all.
You got to go take Ava.
We done?
You got to go take Ava to gymnastics.
Well, I want to.
Yeah, we're gonna wrap. We're gonna wrap up. What's up, lady?
My sister, she just brought me a big ass food box here, and then she had to leave. But then she left it on my stove. Girl, you should have seen me put it in my refrigerator. You would have been laughing.
What are your final thoughts, lady, about the pardons?
Take care of y'all shit, man. Don't go to jail, get locked up. Then you won't have to have no pardon. neck, cook food all through so you don't get sick. There you go.
And
Oh,
then
no,
Blue, like,
that's me. New
oh,
nugget,
okay,
honey. But I
Hey,
hope you
I'm here.
got
I'm
old
just
luggage.
late.
I hope all your old luggage is burnt up and you got all the new luggage, Louis Vuitton, whatever, Willy Wonka, Disney, whatever. Thank you for having me laughing because I was in the clouds when y'all was talking. That's how I knew about the new luggage. I was like, this nigga is stupid. And I was like, look, they got me rolling. I'm over here for to get a shot. He really just say that. So I went back because I got y'all on the big screen. I went back. I said, this nigga did say that. Like, he funny. Laughing. I was like, yeah, it wasn't just me. He's silly. So yeah, y'all had some good conversations, and thank you for holding it down with her too. Up here I'm gonna drop down so I can go cook something. I feel like cooking since she didn't cook today.
lady, it's only 11:26 a.m. in Alaska. You gotta calm down. And I'm trying to get on the grill. That's what I want to do today. That's why I gotta go.
Hey, see my name? Did you read my title on my name?
No, let me move this. And shout out to Blue. Blue is a member of the gang, and so is Casey.
Hey,
Blue,
Blue.
I know that you're just getting here,
Yeah.
but Trump has pardoned the Chrisley's NBA Youngboy Larry Hoover. That's what we were talking about. Can you give us your final thoughts about what you think about that?
All right, so honestly, I really can't comment on it because I really don't know the particulars of the story, and I am late coming in. I'm just seeing your message. I'm actually just waking up, y'all. But
Well, good morning.
good morning, good morning. But what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna go back and look at the podcast and check out, what I'm saying, what the topic of discussion was, and I just sent it to you in text message. All right, look, I'm late, y'all. But it sounds to me like
Okay,
it
and
was a good one,
we're
though.
going to be back here at the same time tomorrow, and I'm going to get some more topics for us to talk about. The lady says no boots on the ground. She was here yesterday when we were talking about Miss Shirley, which is a 4-year-old who's doing a whole bunch of stuff
Now,
that
Mr.
grown women do.
With me. T2, don't start.
Hey, Coach Ferg said hey, puff pass is what Coach Ferg said.
He said you were in the class.
Proximity reach, I can pass it, but my shit don't go the way. I'm not. Okay, you gotta come close. But yeah, if everybody yesterday, he would have been rolling. That shit was funny yesterday. He would have been having.
Yes, check out yesterday's live stream where we talked about Miss Shirley. Woo! Okay, but will we be back here tomorrow around the same time? Thank you guys all so much for coming up. I'm sad I gotta roll out, but I'm gonna drop you guys down and close the
Hey,
show out.
Okay, when you cooking again before you drop me?
I'm gonna be cooking again today soon. I need to prep out this meat, and then if the weather is still good, we're gonna get on the grill, or we're gonna have the season 4 opener and here we're gonna have dinner today. So I don't have those live streams set up, but make sure you have notifications turned on YouTube so that you get notified when I set the go live.
But don't try to grill out first without letting us see. We want to see you. Just say.
Lady, did you just hear what I said? I said I'm gonna prep the food out, and then I'm gonna grill, and y'all gonna be there. Y'all gonna be there.
No, Mr. New Luggage. She set us up for Niecy Pooh's birthday. We were supposed to all do it together, and she did some shit. I had to go off on her. So we clear on the first scene stuff. You know what I'm saying? Hey, you know what I'm talking about.
Look, this is why I don't like sending them no live streams because Lady be serious about it. She was like, "You told me you were gonna be here at this time."
Please on that movie, motherfucker. It's Mr. Frozen, or is that his model stand?
I think he's frozen, but I'm gonna drop y'all down and close the show out because I gotta go. But thank you, Blue. Thank you, Lady Nevo. Am I saying it right? Shout out to Blue.
Right. It's
Okay, wait, can you say it for me?
not vote and that's not even
Not
American.
vote. You
Navoa.
look beautiful. You
Always.
look beautiful.
Thank you. Love you.
All right. Thank you so much for coming up. Shout out to everybody for coming up. I got to run though, but really quick though, I do want to go over. We got Eric with the 100 stars on Facebook, and then we got Lady with the 199. Thank you guys so much. Today was a good show. We are going to be back tomorrow with Time for Tea, and I'm going to cook today. We're going to be doing something. We're going to get back in the kitchen. We're going to open season 4 back up. Let me play this video for y'all real quick so y'all know where we at.
Please hold for a very important message.
All right, y'all, it was a very important message. Shout out to Eric for coming up. I appreciate it so much. I'm so honored that he came up. I appreciate you so much. I'll see you guys in the next one. Leave a comment down below after this video ends and let me know what your thoughts are about the pardons that were just announced with the Chrisleys, NBA Youngboy, and Larry Hoover. I will see y'all in the next one. Peace. Foodiegang, gang, gang. 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 This is Chef Big Bang. Thank you so much for watching at 907 Good Eats. Make sure you hit that like button and don't forget to subscribe. And I'll see you next Wednesday at 9 a.m. I'm out.